98. Alrighty, we're live on a Wednesday night, which we rarely ever do. But we're here with Aaron from the Arizona Armwrestling League. And what do you guys got going on out there?
A lot now, because we're teaming up with you.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm a year in right now with the league. So
nice.
1 year.
It's going
good. I saw a need where we didn't have any tournaments. We had one tournament a year pretty much.
Yeah.
And all the other ones that would come in throughout the years that have been in arm wrestling were like hit and miss, like sometimes like a couple guys would show up and they just never do it again. And it's no real like structure, no actual tournament set up in Arizona. So
what's the one a year? Is that the Arizona states?
Yeah, Arizona states. It originally started with another guy. What was his name? I don't know. He's a Tucson guy. It was originally in Tucson, so that's south of Phoenix, where Greg is. Greg Brown.
Greg Brown, yeah.
Yeah. What was it? I feel like it's maybe 5 years ago. It started with them, and Tim kind of grabbed on, and yeah, it's gotten bigger because they're flying international people.
Oh. Hey Ray, we're getting feedback on your audio.
I wonder why. All right, let me go back out.
Okay. That's cool. So you just decided to step it up and start doing some stuff?
Yeah. So we've over the last, I'd say 2 years, Arizona's gained probably 100 poolers.
Yep.
From I think East versus West and Devin Larrett. There's a lot of people, like Armbet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we had a really tight group originally when I started. It was like Eric Wolf and John Bellick. You've met John.
Yep.
And Edo. You know Edo?
Yep. Muslick.
Okay. And there's a couple other guys sprinkled in there, but it was like maybe like 20 active poolers then. And then there was the Tucson guys. They were growing, and we just didn't. It was very, very small, but now it's getting, over the last 2 years, it's gotten really, really big. And there's nothing for the like intermediate or beginner level poolers. It was only Arizona State.
Yeah. Let's see if this works.
Is that better?
Yep.
All right.
There he is.
You guys sound like you're gurgling cum. I can barely hear you.
Well, I can speak for myself that I am.
So Mikey said he wouldn't be on until about 6:15. He's got his kids have BJJ tonight.
Yeah, he told me earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right.
Okay.
We were just talking about
Good old Michael.
the Arizona Arm Wrestling League and how it kind of started. Now, in Arizona now that you have a league, like, has that separated different groups and caused some issues or no?
Yeah, it's caused a riff a little bit, and a lot of my newer pullers don't know, like, they see the division, but they don't know anything about it. So they're like, where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah.
And it's been a little confusing for people. And now, the opposing people have tried to step up their game too, to try to compete with me, I'm trying to do at least 6 tournaments a year in Arizona. That was my original goal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to copy kind of like the TAL, and Just have tournaments for everybody, everywhere. So for the entry level people and for the pros, I want something for them. And
that's awesome. That works good for TAL. Like, they kind of have the whole state locked down, and their tournament, their regional tournaments of the state end up at a nice finals.
Yes. And that was my original goal.
What the hell just happened? There we go.
We hear you.
You got it?
Yeah, I was just trying to fix the volume, but it's can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was trying to fix the volume because I can barely hear you guys. Sorry about that.
No problem. We hear you fine.
All right.
Well, anyway, so basically, you two and two others are combining forces and becoming the first 98 franchise on the West Coast, which is awesome. And I think a lot of good things will come from that.
It's going to be, obviously I'm a little biased because I'm involved in it, but, since we've kind of been doing this and we've announced the November 1st tournament, there's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of positive and negative being said. You and I have talked about it a little bit, Ryan. The reason why arm wrestling hasn't grown to where it should be in the first Petaluma was organized in 1954. Here it is 2025 and we're still pretty much the same spot that we were back then. And then here's my question. And I'm just going to start the shit right now. I've done nothing to nobody. I've been out of the sport for quite some time. You approached me about the franchise deal. I liked it. I went out, got a legit sponsor. With a great venue, and I'm getting shit talked about me.
Yes.
Now you got Brian Shaw. Now, granted, I'm nowhere near the figure of Brian Shaw, and Brian Shaw is going to do amazing things for the sport, and I support him. I will do whatever I can to promote his event because why? Because it's going to help the overall sport of arm wrestling. Here's what I don't understand. Where does anybody in this sport get off acting like they own this fucking sport and they feel so entitled that they need to be asked before somebody else comes in and puts on an event? And why would anybody want to intentionally go around and smut up another promotion that could potentially help elevate the sport of arm wrestling in his area?
That's what I don't get.
I don't get it.
So if you're doing a new promotion in a state, as long as you're not on those guys' dates, they should love the idea, because the more arm wrestlers you attract to an arm wrestling tournament, those people will get new people involved and they'll go to that guy's tournament also. In Arizona, for instance, Arizona State's, you start throwing 2 or 3 tournaments a year in Arizona, that's going to build the sport. More people are going to get into it and they're all going to go to the finals. But I don't get the way these guys think. It's like a selfish thing, to me. There's a lot of tournaments that pop up around here in the Northeast, and it sucks because, you're trying to plan your dates and it's very hard to find a date. However, it's still building the sport. And if you're for the sport, It doesn't matter if it's you throwing the tournament or someone else. As long as there's tournaments and there's more new guys getting into the sport, that's a good thing for all of us. And some of these guys don't look at it that way, and they go to other tournaments and talk shit, and they think it's not going to get back to us. But every time these dudes open their mouth, someone fucking messages one of us telling us. So it's like, dude, calm down. We're all here to grow the sport. Like, there's no reason to throw shade at any other promotion unless that promotion is actually doing some fucked up shit to the pullers, like the stuff that happened with like beast mode and all that shit. But other than that,
exactly,
you should just support everyone. Shit, we got
which
enemies
they
here.
are accusing me of pulling that beast mode stuff for some reason now. Raymond got a text the other day.
Oh, I think I saw it.
You know what I'm talking about, Ray? Yeah.
The fucking Wi-Fi
Ray
out here sucks.
That's it, Ray.
I got two of them now.
Sorry, I got kicked out. My Wi-Fi shut off.
That's all right. You're back.
Oh, okay.
Like you're saying,
I was mentioning,
you know, I'm not going to throw the people under the bus that, I'm not going to throw people under the bus that personally contacted me. They asked me not to because they still compete and want to compete, you know, at Arizona States.
Yeah.
But, and I know that because I'm not going to throw them under the bus, it's going to be easily to be denied and whatever. But I mean, I got messages saying, you know, literally people messaging me saying, "Hey man, are you throwing an event November 1st? Yeah, I am. Why?" Well, so-and-so's down here smutting up your name and smutting up the event. Then Ryan, you told me you got notified. Yep. I mean, I don't see the purpose of that, you know. Yet on all my pages, and I know on your pages, we're promoting his event, Arizona States.
Yep.
So what I don't get is why not work with us versus work against us? Now, I don't know what started or what the beef is between you know, Mike, Aaron, and Tim. I don't want to be involved in that beef, but if it's going to affect what we're doing, then I'm going to get involved in it. You know, this gentleman, John, you know, sent me this message accusing Aaron and accusing Mike of stealing money, being ostracized from the sport. Well, I'm getting into business with these guys, so of course I'm going to contact them. I'm going to ask them about it.
Yeah.
You know, of course, you know, as we all know, I'm learning. Mikey's a piston, man. He just fires and goes, you know. So he put up a post about it, and then I get a message back from John, like with a screenshot of the post. I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do? You're calling my business partners thieves and liars. Did you expect me not to talk to them about it? I mean, you're messaging me to warn me about getting into business with them.
Right.
Am I supposed to just take your word? I don't even know you.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm hearing that, you know, they're smutting up the event. Why?
Yeah, it's a good event, good cash payouts, good venue, good people involved. We got Mikey Oliva from Florida, Sarah Bachman's husband, doing the brackets. We got Billy Ortegas coming in from Texas to be the head ref. Like, if you're shitting on the event, you're shitting on those guys too, and you claim to be their friend. So that's not cool. There's a lot of big names involved in this event, and to go around talking shit on it and not think that it's going to get back to us is ridiculous.
And it's bad business. It's just bad business. You know, my question is this. My question is I'm going to direct this directly to Tim Telemage. Anybody who's watching this, please share this with him. You know, I mean, he can deny all he wants. You went on a podcast, Tim, and you very vaguely was talking about this event. So I have a direct question to you, Tim. Do you support arm wrestling or do you support your wallet? Because if you support arm wrestling, you got to support everyone who's in it. And what keeps this sport down and what keeps this sport from growing is people who think they own an area. You know, work with us, Tim. I'm not saying you can't work with us. I would love for you to be a part of this event in some capacity. You know,
well, it
whether
only
it be
helps his event in the future.
right, and then we promote. I mean, I'm still promoting his event. You know, post up all you want. I don't care. You know, if I didn't already have something planned and if I wasn't already training for something,
yeah,
I would go to Arizona States.
right.
But why should I go to and support somebody who is going out of their way to talk shit about an event that I'm putting on because he doesn't like Aaron or he's got an issue with Mike? You know, I'm sorry. I thought we were grown ass men. And, you know, and to me, you know, I don't mean to speak for Aaron, but to me, if you got a problem with Aaron, you know, well, let's settle like that Super Bowl commercial. Let's settle it the old way. Put your fucking arm on the table. Let the best man win and squash it. There's no need to have all this animosity and division.
Yeah.
You know, let's build each other up. Let's make Arizona arm wrestling, you know, a great thing. And the other thing, like, you know, Tim's not thinking about is my sponsor owns an event center. I'm sure he would love to put on more than just the events him and I are going to put on. Right. You know, at 98%. He would love the business.
You know what's so we're 98's on the board with this new AWU thing with Sean Hancock, Billy Ortegas, Mike Oliva, and Billy Collins. And Tim wanted to be involved in it, and we had a vote. And one of the reasons I voted no was Tim supporting Greg Sharp.
Hey, Carolyn.
The reason I voted no is I can't support Greg Sharp because he tried to ban athletes. And no matter how you go about that, banning athletes is never good for the sport. So to see Tim and other guys supporting Greg Sharp, I was like, well, I can't support that person if they're supporting someone who bans athletes from the sport.
And that's really what it comes down to, right? If you're going to support any league or any person that is going to go out of their way and punish the athlete, that would be like Aaron saying, hey, if you like Tim Tillemage, you can't pull in our 98%. That would be stupid. We're shooting ourselves in the foot, number one. Absolutely. Number two, why are you going to punish an athlete for your personal beef with someone else?
Yeah.
And that's and in retrospect, that's what Greg Sharp did. Oh, I don't like 98%, so if you go pull their event, you're banned.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is true.
That's Ryan.
What's that?
Yeah.
What was that?
That's a good match. Ryan versus Greg Sharp.
Oh, he'd kill me.
I would say me versus Greg Sharp, but we've already seen the outcome of that match.
Yeah. Maybe we need a rerun on that.
Oh, you got it. You got it, Ryan. I believe in you.
But again, you know, you then I heard a rumor, Ryan, maybe you can confirm or deny or maybe don't know, but I heard he might be lifting the ban now. So if he lifts the ban,
that's even worse.
If he lifts the ban, that just makes him look like even more of an ass because he just did it to F with your event.
Yeah. And then he doesn't want the backlash on his own event. So now he's unbanning so people will come to his event again. And that's even worse than just banning in the first place.
Absolutely.
But still, the point of the matter is they should not be going around telling people not to go to this event because, you know, you've worked hard, and I've seen it firsthand, to get sponsors for this event, to do the cash payouts for men and women, and, you know, trying to lock down the franchise, find the right partners. You know, it's a lot of work for these guys to go around and talk shit and potentially get people not to come to it is not cool.
Well, I mean, and I know we can't say nothing right now or go into any real detail, but we can't let go of what Billy's bringing to this event, right? Not just the fact that, you know, he's coming from Texas to be the head referee. You know, Aaron behind the scenes is getting us all our other officials that we're going to need. But Billy's helping in another way that, if it goes through, is going to elevate Arizona arm wrestling so big.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, right now we're just talking, and Aaron can discuss more if he feels it's the right time to do so. But off of what I know, if this goes through, not only is the November 1st event going to explode, you know, we got Aaron's event August 2nd.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to make the 9-hour drive to support my brother and pull in his event, you know, hopefully beat the guy that he set me up with.
It's a good match.
I hope so. I mean, I hope you ain't setting me up to get my arm hurt. I'm an old man. But that's what it's about, you know. And I'll say this right now, you know, I'll put this out there to Tim. You know, Tim, if you want to stop whatever it is you're doing, if what I'm hearing is true and you want to stop all the bullshit and you want to work with us, yes, when I say us, I mean Ryan, me, Aaron, Mark, Mike. You'd have to work with all of us, put the differences aside, you know, and let's build Arizona arm wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, it's that simple.
I agree.
Or put your arm up on the fucking table. I'll pull you.
There we go. Call out.
You know, and I'm not saying that to be cocky, but I mean, it's like back in the old days, man. If you had a beef with somebody, you went behind the barn, you duked it out. Whoever was standing, he won. Well, you know, we're a little more civilized than that now. Yeah. I would rather work with Tim. I'd rather promote Arizona arm wrestling, because even though I live in California, and this is the other thing that everybody needs to understand, the owner of our venue, the venue is Castle Rock Ranch LLC in Golden Valley. The owner is Mark Hugh Lundgren. He's not just sponsoring, he bought into the franchise, so he's doubly vested.
Yep.
Not only is he putting up all the cash for this event, he went into business with us. That's how much faith and how much trust he has in the 98% brand. And he don't know shit about arm wrestling. The only thing he knows about arm wrestling is what I tell him.
Yeah.
You know, so why wouldn't you want to build on that and show him a community that's unified and works together versus run your mouth and try to discourage people? I don't get it.
Ridiculous. And, you know, part of the reason that 98 has been so successful is most promoters and their leagues focus on the higher end level pros. Not quite the 2%, but like right below that, where we treat everyone the same from the novice to the pro. And I think that makes the new guys more comfortable coming to our events, because they're like, oh, these guys aren't just all about pro class. And so the feedback we've gotten from a lot of the new guys getting in is that when we came around, they felt like comfortable coming to tournaments instead of it always being like an open class where the pros are just smacking everybody. And, you know, I think that helped us move along quickly. And, you know, to grow the sport, if we can do that more nationwide, which is why we're doing the franchise thing, I think we could get a lot of new people in the sport in every state or every territory that 98 will be in, so that more people feel comfortable coming to these events in the future.
One of the things I like about your events and your weight classes and the way you focus, and I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am. You guys are the only, or I should say we guys are the only one who does it that I've seen, is you offer a semi-pro class.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not telling the above average amateur who is kicking ass and taking names in all the amateur event, and you're not saying, okay, you're now a pro. You got to go against Brandon Allen. You got to go against Tom Nelson. You got to go against all these guys. No, here's the semi-pro class. Go up against guys a little bit better than what you are.
Yeah.
And you got a couple more years before you transition to the pros. And I think that's awesome. You know,
we get a lot of shit for that too from like the hardcore pros that are like, oh, that's for pussies. You shouldn't do this. But I'm like, dude, it's our concept. 98%. We're giving more options so that more people stay in the sport. Because when you force a guy to go from amateur to pro and he's fucking just getting smoked, a lot of those guys quit and then they don't come back. This is a way to retain them so they stay in the sport, and there's an extra step to that pro level. You know, and I think it's been working out.
Absolutely. And
okay.
The Drew 24, I think somebody should contact Tim. Let's bring him into the podcast.
What's that?
Oh, I was reading a comment from Drew 24 asking if anyone knew how to get a hold of Tim.
He was in the side chat last week on Friday. I mean, I did hear from a few people at the Mexicali thing that he was definitely down talking this whole Arizona thing. But like I said, I think having more stuff in Arizona, especially the 98 brand, will bring more people into the sport, which helps grow everyone's practices, everything. Like people contact me all the time. That's what we're missing over. Yeah. People contact me all the time asking where's the closest practice. Now we'll have people all over the country being able to answer those questions.
Yep. Yeah. I think including all of this, having all your structure in this region. And can you explain to everybody real quick our region, Ryan?
Yeah. So your region, I believe, is California, Arizona, Nevada. And what was the other one?
Utah.
So that's 4 major states that you guys collectively will. That's your region.
Yeah.
And we have that's about 5 other interested parties that are looking pretty promising. So we're going to be all over the country really soon, which is very cool.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah. And now that I can go to a sponsor, like a more mainstream sponsor, and say, hey, we're nationwide. We have franchises all over. If someone's willing to sponsor us, like say like, you know, Harley or whatever was like, here's 20 grand. Now I can take that money and split it up between the sponsors, which gives you guys a little cash to level up. Like maybe you need a couple new tables, or maybe you need some live stream equipment, or whatever it is. We'll be able to get bigger sponsors that can be divvied up between all the franchisees. So, you know, use it for cash payouts or use it. What's that?
Some uniformity within this brand, you know, that you're creating.
Yeah. If we can get it where, you know, like in the AUA chat, they're pretty much doing something very similar to what we're trying to do, is to raise the level of each group, where, you know, we're like, hey, we're going to have certified refs. So, you know, if you go to any 98 tournament, it's certified refs. You know, they're going to all dress the same. They're going to look professional. It's not going to be just some ref in a red hoodie screaming. Like, we're going to try to make it professional. You know, like in our rule book, it's a ref shirt, black pants, and black shoes, just to try to keep it uniform. But the main point of doing that is when people are Googling arm wrestling or looking for it on YouTube, and you just see it in a fucking dive bar with just guys reffing that don't look like refs, you know, that gives people that's the first impression of the sport. Where if all of us are doing the same thing and they Google arm wrestling and you see like legit refs and it looks professional and there's banners in the background and it looks good, that's how we want each guy doing it, so that we're all contributing to the sport growing in the right direction and looking professional, rather than these just like fly by night promotions.
Also, real quick, we're talking about. I just want to acknowledge I'm actually the only one wearing a 98% shirt.
Hey now.
Oh, there you go. All right, I didn't see it. Okay, well, I'm the only one with a face tattoo. Oh, you want to go with tattoos?
All right, you one upped me with the tattoo location. But hey, that shows how committed we all are to making this work.
Exactly.
There's now 3 official 98 tattoos out there.
What's that, Aaron?
Talking to me. I'll put.
Yeah, what did you say? You got a what?
This is our.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
I'll put a 98% on it.
Put it on the sleeves. Well, that's another thing that we've done with teams. Like some teams that are 98 friendly will have their team shirt. They'll put 98 on the sleeves, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, someone's trying to call me. I don't know who that is. Fuck that guy. Who the hell calls someone during a podcast? But yeah, we have a lot of things that we haven't even announced yet. Some plans, some other franchisees that are interested. Like, this is going to be big, and we'll have like monthly meetings with all the franchise owners so that we can brainstorm, go over things that are working, things that are not working, sponsorships, just all working together for the greater good. So
now, I know earlier we were talking about the refs and what they're required to wear. Ryan, once Billy lets us know everybody, and Aaron lets us know who's going to be repping, are we going to be able to order ref shirts through you?
Yeah, we could. I can put you in touch with the guy also.
Okay.
Because for the shirts that are like the dry fit ones, this is the cheapest guy around, and he does TAL, he does Mikey's Pro Gear, he does Mac, he does a lot of the bigger leagues, and they look good. So yeah, he could do a ref shirt with the ref's name on the back, as long as we know the sizes and all that stuff.
Right.
That way everybody has one, for the tournament.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can get those.
I usually try to do a big order because it's from overseas, the shipping is expensive. So to order like 4 shirts wouldn't be worth it. But if we order, like we combine an order, like if I order some other shirts and some stuff, it'll make it more worth it.
Well, Aaron and we got to get together with Mark and Mike. We got to design an event shirt. So maybe once we get that down, and we agree on what we want for an event shirt, then we can
just throw the ref ones in it.
Throw the refs one in it.
Perfect. And then I'll throw some stuff I need in it too, so we can do one big order.
There you go. So let me ask you this, because again, I've been out of the deal with business wise, and why do you think? Because since I've been back, I've noticed you've got pro Tim, and then you got a lot of anti Tim. Why do you think Tim has the reputation he has? And I'm not asking to start shit. I'm asking for my own edification, because I don't know a lot of the backstory.
Personally, I think it's that little sneaky stuff of talking to people behind their backs and not being upfront if you have a problem, and going to a tournament and kind of telling people like, oh, don't go support this. And then it gets back to people. And, like, I never had a problem with him till he approached me at Knuckles Up. And then I heard he was saying stuff about 98. And then I was like, well, fuck that guy then. And that's probably a similar thing that people have had happen,
He's tried to openly sabotage a couple of my events, and he's been going behind the back, messaging competitors, like just the normal guys that are at practices. He'll message them, or he'll have one of his guys message them, and just say like, "Hey, come to our secret practice," or we're going to host practice the same day that Aaron's hosting a tournament, you know, stuff like that. And it's happened multiple times now.
Yeah. So when you guys get that feedback, you're probably thinking like me. I'm like, well, fuck that guy then. You know, and then because of all that behavior, when it came time for him to want to join the AUA, my vote was no. You know?
Now, was your vote the deciding vote?
Nope. I mean, no, because once I voted no, I was the third vote and I voted no. And then 2 other people voted no after me.
Okay.
So it was 3-2.
AUA has told me personally that they have something with Tim. Like, you know, there's something that Tim has done with them or, you know, about them that has kind of turned them off of him. And, you know, that says something.
Let me ask a follow-up question. If Tim was willing to come to the table and talk civilly and squash whatever issues there are, is there a pathway back for him to come back to where we could all work together?
Well, when I voted no, I said my vote is no, but if the majority votes him in, yes, I'll still work with him because I can separate being angry about this and working with someone for the greater good. And to me, it's more important for the greater good of arm wrestling than to be mad at someone for doing that little weird girly stuff behind people's back. But yeah, I mean, if he came to the table and said, "Hey guys, I want to work with you and let's promote this thing and can I be a part of it?" That's a whole different story. You know, and then you know, we vote again on AUA. Maybe it's a yes this time, you know. It all depends on the behavior and taking accountability and saying, okay, I'm not going to try to ruin this event. I'm going to try to, you know, promote it better. But yeah, I think you could come back from it, you know, as long as that behavior changes and we don't keep hearing that someone's saying, "Hey buddy," to your face and then running behind your back and saying, no, don't deal with it. That's what needs to stop because this sport's too small for that not to get back to us. It always does. It doesn't matter who you say it to, it's coming back.
Yes, I mean, you just might as well be up front. Neil Indexfinger, if you know how to get a hold of Tim and get him in here, bring him in. I mean, we're not hiding. We're not going. I mean, we're doing this in hopes that he does come in. Would love to clear the air if he wants to clear it on here or if he wants to sit down with all of us and discuss it. I personally don't want beef with Tim. I would like to work with Tim. Again, you know, Aaron's got a great event coming up August 2nd.
Yep.
That should be an event that is highlighted in Arizona as well as Arizona States, as well as the South American Championships. You know, Carolyn Loomis, if I read it correctly, says we need a hashtag for our plight for Arizona.
Yeah.
But, you know, again, I'm personally not trying to be sneaky. That's why I'm saying Tim's name directly, and anybody that wants to send him the link to this, get him in here. You know, I'd love to hear what he has to say. I want to know, I personally want to know, do you support arm wrestling?
Yeah.
Because if you support arm wrestling, you got to support all of it.
Right.
Or do you support just your wallet?
Yeah.
You know, and is he willing? I mean, you've heard it here. You know, these guys are willing to come to the table and talk with him. Is he willing to come to the table, sit down, hash things out so we can all collectively benefit from each other's work and exposure?
Yeah.
You know,
that's the only way it grows, man, is working together. You know, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure he'll see this or get a link to it at some point anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be better if he would see it and come on.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing his face though, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So we have big plans for Arizona. Yeah, with the Southwest Championship, that's going to be a big one. I think so. I think it being pretty central to, you know, Utah, California, Nevada, Arizona, everybody can come together for that one. And I think it's going to be a great showing, whether or not Armed Sports Entertainment is involved or not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If he doesn't want to be involved and wants to just keep badmouthing it, we're still going to just continue to do what we do and make it a good event, with or without him.
Absolutely.
It's going to carry on. Maybe if some supporters of his might not come, but I'm hoping after everybody leaves this tournament and talks about how great it was, that those people will be curious and come next year. So
Mikey was telling me he's going to do he's going to go back to Castle Rock and he's going to actually do a video that can be posted up on the page.
Nice.
So people can, wait till you see the stage set up.
Yeah.
The way the stage is set up, we can put the number one table. You know how when a band plays, they have a drum stage and the rest of the band is, you can put the number one table up on that little stage, more than big enough for the table, the competitors and the refs, then a table on each side. It's going to be sick, bro. It's going to be sick. On the patio area, they have an outside bar, so you don't actually have to walk inside to the bar. They're going to have an outside bar. And Aaron has, I gotta, shout out Aaron here. He is a very integral part on why Billy Ortega is coming to this event and why he's head repping. And behind the scenes, Aaron has really been busting his ass, to build this event up, and initially Aaron was just doing this just to build the event. Before I approached him about being a partner, anything, he was reaching out to me. Well, actually, I believe him and my wife spoke first in comments on a post, and then he reached out to me and we started talking. And before any offer to be a part of the franchise was given, he was already putting in work. And that's what I'm talking about. He doesn't know me from Adam. This is the first time I've actually seen him other than looking on his Facebook page. We've talked on the phone, but he was already putting in work to make this event a good event and reaching into his own pocket. I'm going to call it out, reaching into his own pocket to make sure we had what we needed to make this a good event. And that's what needs to be done with, if Armed Sports Entertainment, I'm not saying reach into your pocket to give to us, but help us promote it. Show up. Let's do a Armed Sports Entertainment versus 98% American Southwest. Let's do some super matches. Just a fun. Yeah. Obviously, it's competition, right? But just to show that we're together, we're uniform, and then we go to one of his events and we support one of his events. Because eventually the bottom line is, I know I can say right now there's going to be at least 2 events that's going to be held at Golden Valley.
Yep.
You got Aaron's event. Plus he's got a couple of more. So that's like 5 events between the 2 of us that we're going to put on in Arizona. Why not help build the – again, I'll beat it like a dead horse. Why not help build the whole thing? Why limit each other?
I agree.
Why get into a pissing contest?
For example, we got Billy Ortega's coming to ref. I hate Billy, but I'm still willing to work with him.
You got what?
I said, we got Billy Ortega's coming into ref, and I hate Billy, and I'm willing to work with him for this event. No, I'm kidding. We're good friends. But, I'm on the board with him in the AUA, and me and him are doing a ton of work for that group also. So, there's a lot of good things. Like 98 will probably be under the AUA umbrella and be a certified, recognized promotion under AUA, which will then put all you guys under AUA too. And we're just going to build this thing huge. It's going to be awesome. So there's a lot of cool things coming. And I'm looking forward to it because I think I don't even think there's ever been franchises in this sport.
No, I don't think there has either.
Probably.
And so, do you guys hear an alarm chirping? Somebody said I have an alarm chirping, but I don't have any fire alarms. I want my house to burn down if it catches on fire.
The batteries in your vibrator's low.
Dude, it's not a vibrator; it's a bullet.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And we got Bam Arm Wrestling in the house. 98 Brain is gonna boom.
Now, how about those guys that shouted us out in their podcast? Are they friendly with Aaron's league?
All I know, are you talking about Savage Arms?
What's that?
What podcast you talking about?
The one those guys were shouting us out, and I shared it all around.
Oh, Savage Arms. So I met Spencer at the North versus South.
Yep.
And Kyle Souza. I met all those guys from Savage Arms, and we got to talking. I was kind of telling them about the event, where it was at. At that point in time, Aaron and I hadn't connected yet. So I don't know if they support Arizona Arm Wrestling League, but they're definitely supporting this event. They have guaranteed me that at least 6 members from their team are showing up.
What was that, Aaron?
That'll be good. They've been showing support on my Facebook page.
Oh, nice.
For like the last 2 or 3 months since they've started their stuff. Really trying to make that podcast. But
yeah, they talked about us, so I posted their podcast all over and told people to go join it because I thought that was nice of them to shout us out.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like their podcast a lot.
Yeah, they had a good podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Carolyn Loomis is asking what the AUA mission statement is.
Well, we'll probably have all that released because this past week we put in a lot of work on the whole structure of how it's going to be and everything and all the rules, and it's going to be a new rule set too, like refs, all that stuff, so that it's specific to that new, federation.
Now, with 98% being on the board, are we all going to have to conform to what the AUA sets, or are we still going to be doing our own thing as a separate organization?
No, we'll all be doing our own thing. Basically, it's to lead up to like a national size event for them. So, they're going to have whatever weight classes that they want. Because I know Sean's been working on a different weight class just to mix things up so that it's not the same as everybody else. But, any promoters under it can do their own thing. Although to be a sanctioned promoter, there are some requirements, like using certified refs and, professionalism, stuff like that. Like they wouldn't let some fly-by-night promotion in that's just doing shit tournaments and, you know what I mean? Or if there's any question about integrity, like the stuff that went down with like beast mode, it would just be a no, Just trying to get quality promotions in so that these newer promotions see what it took to get into this and they can level up and try to reach that level of quality as a goal. So there's going to be 2 tiers, like the guys that are certified, sanctioned promotions, and then there's supporters underneath. So as those guys, the supporters, want to become certified, they'll get the list of requirements they have to meet, and then they can start working on them. So, it'll be cool, and I think it'll raise the level of everybody. Like I said, so you're not watching a live feed in some bar with, crazy shit going on and turning off new arm wrestlers from the sport.
Right.
But all that'll come out because their work, we kind of.
Now, is AUA going to have a ranking system?
I don't know if they'll have their own, but they're definitely going to be submitting to Aries.
Yeah, it'll probably still be Aries.
Aries, yeah. They'll still be submitting to that, but it's probably going to throw things off a little because of their different weight classes.
Well, and don't you think, it would be better if those that are involved in AUA all agree and like Aaron was saying, earlier be uniform in weight classes, so that way, like Aaron's event August 2nd, you know, he runs the same weight classes as say Bill Collins UAL.
Yeah.
And he meets the criteria, the refs are certified, all that, then everybody competing in that event can be, you know, go to Air or Aries, whatever Corey Miller's saying.
Yeah.
And that way the rankings are more legitimized versus being all over the place.
I agree, but I don't know if every promotion is going to conform to those new weight classes.
Well, the hard thing is with those weight classes is, so usually my August 2nd event, or it's usually up northern area of Arizona. Not a lot of arm wrestlers, so usually the Phoenix guys will travel. We'll try to get some people from other states, and it's like maybe 150 entries. So having all those weight classes in it, I'm not going to be feeling all of them, you know. So
that's the problem. There's so many weight classes. That's a lot of extra trophies.
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to have to combine weight classes anyway. So I don't know if he's trying out those weight classes, and we're going to see how it works out in his own promotion before we settle in on what it's actually going to be. So we'll get some feedback first.
At your last event, you said it was a smaller event. How many weight classes did you run? Did you end up running?
6 for pro, 6 for amateur. What's that?
Did you get somebody in every weight class?
Yes. Well, we tried something new this time. At the end, we did a sit-down class. Didn't think anybody would jump in that, but quite a few people wanted to try sit-down, which was kind of cool at the end. Yeah. So that was something new we tried. But we had 175 entries, which for that area is pretty good because it's kind of a remote area down in Maryland. Yeah. And went pretty good. But we all, like, whatever weight classes we do for pro, we always match in amateur. And then we did 4 weight classes for women's. And then we did 4 for masters, 2 for senior grandmasters, and 2 for ultra. And then we didn't do a semi-pro at this tournament just because it's one of our smaller tournaments. But in the future, we might start doing semi-pro. But right now, we only do semi-pro at Winter Blast because there's so many people that go that most amateurs will pull AMs and semi, and most semi will pull semi and pro. So it fills up that semi from like both ends, kind of.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
But yeah, the sit down thing we just decided to throw in there, and because a lot of guys up here go down to the Virginia sit down nationals, so I thought it would be a cool thing to do to keep it alive, because one of the guys that used to throw sit downs up here in New Jersey passed away, so they don't have that sit down tournament up here anymore. So I just threw in a 199 and under and 200 plus for sit down, and a bunch of guys jumped in to just try it out at the end of the tournament. It was pretty cool.
And FYI, Aaron, I do have a sit-down table if we wanted to maybe discuss and do that like Ryan's talking about. I have an official sit-down table.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm open to that. I've been seeing sit-down arm wrestling on the East Coast, and it looks fun. I like it a lot.
It's definitely way different.
Well, and the other thing we can do is if we did that, whether it be this tournament or next year, we could talk to the Stanaways and see if we can use it as a qualifier for nationals.
Yeah.
And then that brings attention to their championships. And again, it's a circular promotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Plus, a lot of the kids had fun on the sit-down table. Like the smaller kids, we just had them do it on the sit-down table.
Yeah.
They had a blast. I think I'm going to try to get a legit kids table, though, this year.
Lucas Raymond makes one. And Steve, what's his name? Steve Baldwin makes one, too.
Baldwin, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to get one. And then and maybe this is something you guys can work on too, but I've been doing a lot of talking with the local Boy Scout groups and trying to get them to add our events as like a field trip or whatever for the Boy Scouts to come arm wrestle. And
That's cool.
I was trying to get. Well, I was talking to their board, their upper board, and saying, hey, add a strength sport badge. And the cool thing would be like they could get that badge by either coming to compete at a tournament or maybe together they build a table and donate it to a local team to get like a little arm wrestling badge.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. So, I mean, that's how you build a sport, is find a way to get more kids into it for the future. So we'll see how that plays out. It's a slow process dealing with.
Well, I mean, if you really want to grow the sport, you get a school district or a couple of school districts to put it in as an actual school sport. You know, you look at look at Texas, which obviously football is really big. But second to football is powerlifting. Mike Womack, the creator and CEO of Bench Daddy Bench Straps, you know, he's got powerlifting all through Texas schools. And he made a fortune because, you know, they all buy his products and whatnot.
So one of our guys here, Josh Vinacore, he started arm wrestling club at school when he was 14. And they had a table in there and everything. And the gym teacher oversaw it after school. It was like an activity, after school activity. But then when he graduated, nobody stayed on to keep it going. So I think nowadays, if you put it out there like, hey, we need some volunteers to keep this program going at this school, a ton of us would be like, I'll come, you know. I'll come oversee it, or, you know, a lot of us would donate our time, especially if it's in a school, to get new kids into it. You know, I'm sure a lot of us would take turns, you know, going there one night a week or something for this club. Just some of the schools are weird with the liability side of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big liability.
I mean, it's no more of a liability than football.
I agree. Probably less.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many concussions happen a year in football?
Yeah. For sure.
I think it's just people are scared because of, you know, the reputation that arm wrestling has. It's, you know, the arm break, stuff like that.
Well, exactly, which is beyond me why Greg Sharp would be like, I'm coming out with a movie named Arm Break. I'm like, what are you, a fucking idiot? That just shows you that he's not with the sport.
Yeah,
Anybody I mean, 2 months in, and I knew you don't share arm break videos. You don't talk about arm breaks. You don't fucking, you don't, it's like a taboo thing to talk about because arm wrestlers don't want to watch arm breaks. And if you're not an arm wrestler and you see all these arm breaks on YouTube, then you're like, I'm never doing that shit. You know, so to name it arm break, you can tell that he's just not really, he's not in the arm wrestling community as much as he tries.
What's the number one excuse from new people whenever you try to get them in? Oh, I don't want to break my arm.
I don't want to break my arm. Yeah.
That's it.
Shit, when I got into it, my wife was like, 1, you're going to break your arm, and 2, no one figures you would pick a stationary sport. Thanks.
Mikey!
What's up, Mike?
It's going down.
So far in this sport, I've broken my right wrist
Mike.
and I've blown a bicep.
Yeah.
But I haven't broken an arm.
I tore my anus in a match.
Did you just say you tore your anus?
Yeah.
I won't even ask how you did that.
On the peg of the table. Hey, Mike, why does everybody in Arizona hate you, Mike?
Well, probably because I don't keep my mouth shut. I'm not real good at keeping secrets when those secrets are detrimental to, well, in this case, the sport of arm wrestling.
Right.
I'm a man of principles, and I tell everybody, listen, if there's a secret you don't want me to know, you're going to talk shit about somebody, don't tell me, because
Yeah.
I'm going to go tell homeboy so we can get it out and over with. I get really tired of the current age of men that just do a lot of this. I come from a time where we didn't do that, and
Yeah.
that's what the disconnect between me and a lot of the Arizona pullers is. These guys, when I first got here, they really liked that I was fairly, I don't even want to say fairly, moderately successful at YouTube. When I met Ed O'Muslik, I think that's how you say his last name anyway. He was real happy that I was YouTube savvy because their angle at that moment was trying to get YouTube famous. It was at the end of COVID and all that stuff. And because we were all locked up, everyone was watching screens, right?
Yep.
So that was the big motivation for a lot of these guys was the attention. So they're
Yeah.
trying to do this WWE persona crap. And they came at me with these weird characters. And I said, hey guys, I don't need to be angry I don't need to be motivated to be angry to arm wrestle. I'm already pissed off all the time. So you
Yeah.
don't need to talk shit to me. I'm already mad. Just say hi and we could fight. And a lot of these guys just kept doing this crap. And I said, listen, this isn't going to be about arm wrestling. Y'all keep it up. And then it started getting real personal. And well,
Yep.
We got to come up with a nickname for Mike. I got two: Mike the Psycho or Mike the One-Way Piston.
I mean, being I'm a race car guy, I like the second one.
The Piston.
They were calling me the
We'll
King
just
from
call
Kingman
Ryan
when
Anus.
When I
Yeah.
first showed up, they were
Torn-
calling me the
torn
King
anus.
from Kingman. I don't know. That was the first nickname. And currently, I've just adopted Chaos, just as kind of being an asshat toward my beef with Jake Ventura, because he adopted the nickname the Bully when I was we were all engaged in a big public chat. His whole thing is he's a funny guy, he really is, but sometimes he gets a little too far. He says some things that are a little personal, and I wasn't too happy with it. And so I told him, I said, man, you're just a bully. You pick on the new guys and the low level guys and the people that suck. And you sit and you torment them and you play these games, and a lot of these guys will quit. And he was pushing me towards that. And I actually did quit for 8 months. This dude harassed the shit out of me to the point to where I just stopped because they had painted me like a psycho anytime I tried to stand up to him.
Yeah.
And I was over it. I couldn't get matches. I was banned in the state. It was an embarrassment on the West Coast. There wasn't a club that I would message to try to go to a practice, and they go, hey, we've heard about you. And I'm like, what the fuck would you hear? And they tell me a bunch of crazy stuff. And I'm like, what? Okay. I mean, I've been to maybe 3 practices down there. That's about it. I went down there my first tournament. I did
Here we
pretty
go.
good. I was
Here's Timmy.
confident. What's up?
Here's
Tim,
hey, look
Tim
at
is
that.
in the
There's
comments.
Tim.
Is there any way we can bring
Of
him
course
on?
he'd wait. Of course he'd wait until I showed up.
Here's the link, Tim, if you want to come on.
So come on in, Tim. So, Mike, I asked Ryan and I asked Aaron earlier. Again, I'm not in whatever drama there is going on. I know you and I spoke a little bit.
So shouldn't even.
So
be
now
any
that
drama.
Tim is watching, I'm going to re-ask the question to you. If Tim is willing to come to the table and civilly discuss whatever issues are going on, in your thought pattern, is there a way back for Tim to come into the fold and we all work together to promote each other?
Well, my issue with this whole thing is a little different because my issue is Tim's cronies. It's not Tim himself. It's the people that Tim controls. It's the people that are cowtailing to Tim, and they run around and they cause a lot of damage, and Tim doesn't take no heat for it. And I'm not stupid. I'm aware of what's going on here because the second that Arm Sports Entertainment got mentioned, which is what I did, which is why Tim is now all ramped up about all this, is because I was fighting with his cronies, and I knew if I mentioned Tim, all of a sudden he's going to say, "Hey, now my promotion is in the mix here, guys. What are you doing? You can't keep messing with this guy because now the heat's coming down on me." I said, that's interesting because it wasn't until I talked to Tim, and then all of a sudden he tells his guys, "Hey, stop," and then they stop. That's crazy. So it shows me that that's the kind of thing we're dealing with here. Is that these guys have this stranglehold on Arizona. They have this little group of things that they do, and they did their best to control me, and here we are. I blew this thing up to where now everybody's looking at it.
Well,
Tim says he doesn't control anyone. Tim, Ryan shared the link.
Do I need to post should I post the screenshot where you told me that you were going to tell your guys to stop talking shit? Because that's what I do, is I post the screenshots from messages. That's why no one likes to message me. People like to do phone calls and videos and stuff, which I'll record the videos too. That's the thing, is you can't hide this shit from me. And that's why they don't like me. It's because I put all of it right out there. So, I mean, we can put that message up there, Tim, if you want.
Let's get it out now. Tim, the link is up. Come on in.
If you have the ability to tell them to stop doing what they're doing, obviously you're controlling people. You obviously have the ability to stop the things that happened before they happened years ago. That's why we're in the situation. 2 years of me getting harassed by your guys, and it wasn't until I brought your name up and all of a sudden it's over. Crazy. And I'm not banned anymore.
Drew said he's pulled with you a few times. It's been cool to him.
I love Drew. Drew's awesome.
I mean, he's gay, but he's all right.
Why do you think I love him?
It's not gay if you don't look into their eyes and say their name.
Listen, the best table time is when you get a reach around.
Yeah. Those chalky hands.
No, I do need to give a shout out to the guys up in Vegas for giving me an opportunity to build the reputation that I have that made it to where I could stand up to this. If it wasn't for Brandon Allen allowing me to come to his practices and really helping me get to where I am today, none of this would be possible. And this isn't saying, hey, Brandon did this. He has no involvement in any of this. He has no idea I'm doing this. In fact, I'm pretty sure he kind of stepped away from me because I am a little crazy about how I handle things. And it doesn't work well for people that are worried about backlash. So I will do my best to not cause any problems here. But that's one of the things that I'm kind of a loose cannon. A lot of people get worried about that. And that's the issue with the Arizona Polars, that they were trying to keep me from causing issues. Here we are.
Yeah. Well, I like I was saying earlier, we all should be getting along. We all should be lifting each other's events up. If there is back talk behind the scenes where people are going and telling them not to come to our event, I heard about it. Ryan heard about it. Mike, I believe you said you even got wind of it. To me, that's just childish. And
I mean, I was getting messages from their dinner.
From their who?
I got people that were sending me videos and messages from their dinner when they were down there in Mexico, and Tim's sitting there, doing a bunch of this. There's lots of those guys down there that like me. And see, that's the thing too. There is a lot of people, much like what you're saying, Big Country, is that I'm not going to throw them out there because they're concerned about the repercussions that happen to them. But they're feeding me all this info because everybody's tired of this shit. They're tired of the gatekeeping in general. They're tired of all the infighting. I get it. We're all a bunch of meatheads. It's a 1v1 sport. We're all trying to manage ourselves. It's a lot of ego, a whole lot of ego that we're trying to find some way to civilly package. And it's not an easy thing to manage. But I can tell you right now is that trying to create constant division everywhere is not going to make anything any better. And it is why, unfortunately, as a sport, we are pretty much the laughing stock. Everybody laughs at us when we try to get serious about it. I believe this is why. They like you said earlier, when you go look at the first impression of arm wrestling, and it looks, well, poorly represented. Yeah. It's guys that are just loosely dressed. There's no there's no basis that we're all following, if that makes sense. There's no I don't know how else to put it. Just
there has to be a standard of quality.
There you go. Sorry.
Which is something we're trying to set, like across the board. Same with the AUA. That way, when people do Google arm wrestling, they see a professional tournament, which is more appealing than some barstool thing, where, I've seen some tournaments where they're cursing every 2 seconds on the mic and there's like women and children in the background. So any normal non-arm wrestler that watches that would be like, what the fuck is going on there? Like there's kids and women in the back and this dude's dropping F-bombs like crazy. If you're live feeding, it should be professional. You should try to keep that out of it. If you're
I
not
know
live feeding, whatever.
A lot of practices also feel a lot of people treat it more like a party, more like a hangout, and it doesn't really feel like it's appropriate. I've had some issues trying to create professionalism, trying to find that bridge between the guys in the bar that want to arm wrestle, but at the same time, they want to have a few beers, they want to hang out, they want to have fun. But what about the folks that don't want to be associated with that? What about the straight edge folks?
Yeah.
The issue is trying to find that common ground for everybody to meet in the middle. Another thing, and this is something that I haven't heard a whole lot of people say, we have an issue here with a lot of my pullers have no interest in competing. They just don't, but they love arm wrestling and they really want to be a part of just practicing the sport. Akin to, there's a basketball court at the park. Yeah. Those guys, if you go down there and challenge somebody, they're ready for a challenge. They're going to take a one-on-one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're just going to go home and that's the end of the day for them. You may want to go to a tournament next weekend. Just because homeboy is good doesn't mean he cares at all. And that's been a lot of the issue here, is that I can't create the interest to go anywhere else, let alone just to get these guys to interest, to make it fun, because I'm very competitive. So I'm showing up to practice and I'm trying to get work. I'm trying to do these things. And there is this, I've noticed a disconnect on my end where I've had to try to bridge to make this fun for these guys, to make it to where when they show up, it's a smile when they leave. Not, oh, my arms hurt. Oh, I'm so excited to go feel more pain next. A lot of these guys don't have that competitive edge, but they love the sport.
That's our whole focus in 98 is to make those new guys feel welcomed at tournaments where there are some pros. Because most leagues do focus on the pros for the most part,
Well, isn't that what we're trying to entertain other pullers? We're saying, look at these big super matches. Look at these famous guys we got. So that's who's bringing us. Right. Those of us who are going to pay for pay-per-views. I do. I pay for almost every pay-per-view just to watch them.
Yeah,
I could wait for the clips.
Right.
The clips are going to come out, but I don't care. I'm going to support the promotion, the pullers, because I am a puller.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, this big thing with
the whole name 98% is you got the top 2% guys, which are your Devins, Levons, all those guys. And the rest of us are the other 98% of the sport trying to get there and going to tournaments, buying shirts, handles, merch, getting the pay-per-views. It's not the 2% guys getting the pay-per-views. We're the majority and we get treated secondhand. And 98 is trying to change that, where we treat the 98 guys equal. We don't give a shit what the 2%ers are doing. They obviously have their own opportunities, but let's create opportunities for our guys.
And that right there has been why they say that I am an amateur puller and I don't support Arizona arm wrestling, is because I have actively been saying that right there. I've been saying that we need to just build the sport here for the love of the sport. And yes, I understand that in order for these promotions to put on these events, we have to go to them and whatnot. But at the same time, we shouldn't be shaming people who don't want to compete. Those people are still going to go attend the event. Just because they don't compete in the event, they're still going to go to it.
Is this your buddy here, Jake, saying, oh, look, it's Michael Layton, the guy?
Yeah, the bully. There you go. Yeah, there you go. More gaslighting as usual. That's their typical move, well, at least his anyways. His whole angle this whole time has been, I'm ultra violent and I'm going to go hurt somebody. He's angry because I told him I was going to make him pay for bullying me. And well, here it is. He's responsible for my involvement in all of this. So everybody can thank Jake Ventura for me being a giant pain in the ass.
Do you think?
Thanks, Jake.
Do you think someone lit up the bat light and was like, everybody come on quick, we can talk shit on these guys? And then everybody's starting to come on at once.
Well, here I am. They didn't show up until I got here, right?
Well, I mean, we've invited Tim to come on and let's discuss all this.
I'm going to put
my
the link
motivation behind. I met Tim years ago. I didn't even know he was living in Arizona. I thought he was still up in Washington. Then I decided to put on an event, and then all of a sudden I'm caught up in all this this drama.
I'm putting the link if Jake wants to come on. But
Beautiful.
most of the guys that have a problem
That'll
with
be-
what we're doing won't typically come on.
I would love
Hey
to
guys,
see
I
what
gotta
Jake
get back
has
to work.
say.
All right, buddy.
Thanks for the
for
talk.
coming on, and sure
Thank
we'll
you,
Talk
Aaron.
later, guys.
Yes, sir.
Again, if you're gonna take ego and pride out of it, and you're gonna operate as a business, you got two options when it comes to this sport. You can badmouth. I don't even call what me, Mike, and Aaron are doing right now even a promotion yet. We haven't even put on our first event. But again, it can be used to highlight all of Arizona. It can be used to promote. I mean, I have no problem. Send me some flyers of your event, Tim. I'll hand them out at our event. I don't care, because it's all for the betterment of the sport.
Jake said he's going to come on.
Come on,
Sweet.
let's squash it.
Well,
I don't
mean,
understand what the point of this is, but okay,
I've
come on,
seen-
Jake.
I've seen some screenshots where there were some not very nice things said to you. So, I mean, you responding with how you responded, honestly, I don't blame you. I've said worse. I've said worse than how you
I
responded.
mean, the dude made fun of my kid's name because he's a junior and I'm a senior. He thought that was where he crossed the line with me. I was like, all right, man, you're talking about my family.
Jake,
We're not arm
Ryan,
wrestling
put the
no more,
link up.
brother.
All you got to do is click on it.
I mean,
Yep.
This guy has spent 2 years obsessing over me. I've just been sitting here taunting gay dudes and a couple random girls on the internet, flopping my dick around. I don't know what the hell he's doing even following me, unless he really likes watching how pretty I am. That's the only thing I could think of. But
Do you think-
otherwise, I
do you
mean,
think
these guys literally just follow me.
Do you
I
think you would
don't
subscribe to
even
your
go
OnlyFans
anywhere.
page?
I sit in my backyard, I pull with my buddies, and weirdos like this follow me.
I'm a weirdo, right?
I don't know. That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
Okay, I'm a weirdo. Let's talk about how you made a GoFundMe to raise money for a match that I already told you I wasn't going to do. You basically
It's not my fault. You're too poor to afford it.
All right,
We'll
listen
take
to
care of
this.
you, bud. We'll fix it for you. It's okay.
You were the first person to donate to yourself. You know that GoFundMe takes a percentage, right? And you basically lost money making yourself look like an idiot.
How is this helping you make fun of me?
I'm just saying, look, you alienated
Because I got
yourself.
disposable income to make fun of you, and you seem to think this is going to help somehow, like create some optic where you're gonna.
Michael,
you're the cool guy, right?
I don't know what delusion you're living in, but you didn't do anything. The only thing that you did was make yourself look like a fool. Everyone in Phoenix, arguably the mecca of arm wrestling, all are against you. You make videos every single day complaining about something. And whenever somebody mentions your name, God forbid, you have to say, oh, I'm going to come after your business. You shouldn't have got in my business. You look like a joke to the arm wrestling community.
When did I say I was coming after somebody's business?
I just don't want to give you a platform. You've already embarrassed yourself. You shouldn't be allowed to pull anywhere.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying,
So I deserve to be banned because you have some
one who says this.
emotional
You
problem.
think he should be banned from everywhere?
Because you have an emotional
I
issue
have
here.
people who message me who are scared to have him come down because one day he got his feelings hurt by my video and said, I'm going to take everyone down with me in a blaze of glory. Really?
I am taking your whole crew down, Jake, right in front of you.
We are.
You guys
so
are the
scared.
embarrassment of arm wrestling right now. Everybody can see what you're doing, and it's really weird.
I'm an embarrassment. So because I make a few trolls.
You obsess over other grown men this much? It's creepy, bro.
Bro,
really
out of nowhere, 2 years of you not being in the limelight.
2 years of you following me on the internet like a stalker.
Tag me in a video, and I'm the one who's obsessed.
You had to comment on the video of me pulling some dude in my backyard.
You gave a new dude bad
You're
advice.
the one who instigated this whole thing. I've got all the screenshots. I post them all the time. Whatever you want to say, bro.
You were holding someone dead center, and you encouraged a new guy to throw his weight into it and press right away.
No,
A
I didn't.
new person.
No, I didn't.
Because I told you that's bad advice.
You have no idea the context of that video. That guy has been pulling for over 2 years. He pulled with Adam Silver and pinned him several times. Apparently, new guys can just beat Adam Silver all the time, right?
You have to know when you make videos of yourself.
Come on, no, hold on. You say he's new. Okay,
Yeah.
he's been pulling for 2 years, Jake. He pulled with Adam in my backyard when Adam came to my house.
You can tell by the way.
So hold on though. You're saying I'm pulling new guys and hurting them.
You're giving them.
Where's your proof? Where's your Hold on though. You can't substantiate any claim you make. All you do is do this. You're just like all the other guys down there. You run your mouth a bunch until you piss me off, and you make it something that has nothing to do with arm wrestling. When I say, "Hey, I'm going to shut you up," you go, "Oh, he's going to hurt me." You wonder why people want to hurt you. Look at you.
Hurt me?
This has nothing to do with arm wrestling, brother. This is a weird obsession you have. Go away.
Wait, so you want to hurt me?
Wait, go away.
So, hold on, let me ask this. How do we get past this and get back to arm wrestling?
I'd ask this guy. I've been stopped for 3 years by this guy.
Like, is there a way to just
it seems to me
start new and be like, okay, we both agree we're not going to talk shit on each other anymore, and then just move forward?
I'd love for Michael to do that.
That is the weirdest shit ever.
How you doing, Jake? I'm Ray.
Hey, Ray, how's it going?
You follow a guy on the internet for 3 years.
I kind of agree with Ryan. So, not knowing the backstory on all this and
play the victim and be like, yes,
putting no judgment.
Stop.
You know, like Terry Killifan said, this really isn't going anywhere. It makes the sport look bad. It brings a bad light. So obviously, there's animosity between the two of you.
I got over Michael a long time ago.
Okay.
Can't you stop messaging me and commenting in my post? I'm not touching anything that has to do with content you post ever. Anywhere. Well, you come to my accounts and you say things to me, Jake. Don't try to twist this like I come to you. I simply respond. That's all I ever do is respond.
Okay.
I don't go out of my way to antagonize anyone. I respond.
Are you done yet?
So, no, I'm not done yet.
Can I just say
I'm absolutely sick and tired of you trying to gaslight this and do this weird, like, flippy floppy crap. You go from, I got messages where you're calling me all these names, telling me I'm this terrible person and all this other crap. And then you go, oh, I'm so sorry. Please don't be mean to me. Oh, yes. Oh, poor Mike. He's such a mean guy. For which angle are you going to go for, bro? I'm just over it. Go away.
Are you done yet?
Leave me alone already.
Are you done now?
No. Go the fuck away.
Can I say one thing?
I have nothing else to say to you. Go away.
Will you stop making posts and making videos complaining every day? Will you?
So is that your biggest issue with him? Is that he complains on his posts?
So the thing is, he says he responds to me, but he tags me in posts and asks for people's money to make a match for which I decline. So if you're so worried about me, why do you make posts about me? All right, well, that's all I have to say. Listen, I'm not going to mention Michael's name. In fact, I don't even think he deserves a platform in the sport. But I know one thing, he's going to continue to make videos every single day complaining about everything because Michael doesn't change. That's what he does. But if it means anything, Michael, I'll stop talking about you. I'll continue doing my thing. You do your thing.
So, again, being a new guy to this situation, my goal isn't to bash anybody. My goal is how do we all come together, work. I mean, we don't have to like everybody that's involved, but how do we come together, work together, promote each other, benefit each other without all the back and forth that just happened? Because that's really that's more of what I'm concerned with. You know, yours and Mike's issue is yours and Mike's issue. You know, I've known you about as long as I've known Mike. Okay.
I don't understand how my pulling in my backyard has anything to do with anything Jake just said. I haven't gone anywhere south of my house in 2 years. most of what he's saying is completely irrelevant. I am sick and tired of this guy trying to use me to make himself relevant.
Michael, why haven't
I am
you
just
gone
a
to-
random guy in my backyard. Please stop obsessing over me. It would
Why
be
haven't you
really
come down to
cool.
Phoenix for any practices? I'm just
Nobody wants to come down to Phoenix.
Nobody.
Nobody here wants to come down to Phoenix. We are tired of how you guys treat us.
Nobody wants you to come down to Phoenix because you alienated yourself.
That's great. That's great. I would have to want to go down there for that to matter, Jake. We get it. You're trying to find a way to help me feel terrible about myself. Like I should care what you think, but I don't. I haven't cared. I don't want to go down there. I like going up to Vegas. It's a much more relaxing, accepting environment where the people there want to train instead of bully each other.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, Tim. Oh, Tim. I said hi and you left. All right. Anyway, so how do we move forward with maybe both guys just agreeing not to address each other, maybe?
Right. Absolutely.
First, I would say whatever the fuck I want. He can kiss my ass. I have free will, and I will do whatever the hell I want. I don't talk about this guy unless he talks about me. I have simply been reminding the arm wrestling community over the last week that the reason why I've been on a tirade lately is because this guy would not stop harassing me. And so I wanted everyone to know I will publicly say right now, my punishment to Jake is his association with this. Everybody is associating Jake with why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah, because he wouldn't leave me the fuck alone.
Okay, hold on, Mike.
Over the edge.
Jake has already said he'll stop talking about you. He'll stop addressing you. He'll stop messaging you. So as long as he does that,
session I've ever had.
Huh?
This is the weirdest counseling session I've ever had.
It's not a counseling session.
Well, that's how he's treating it.
For me,
he came on here all Barbara Walters. What are we doing? I was talking about arm
for me, as a new
worried about feelings,
as a new business owner coming into a territory, I'm trying to make peace. And my thing is,
where did I ever start a problem? Where did I ever instigate any of this? I would love.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I have been on the defense the entire time. I'm tired of appearing as though I am attacking anyone. That's what he's doing. He's been doing it the whole entire time. No matter if I say I'm staying home, shut the fuck up. I say I'm staying home, leave me alone, and what do? You get me banned. I'm staying home, leave me alone, you get me banned. You go out of your way to ostracize me when I say I'm staying home, I don't want to go to your practices, we don't like you, we're staying here. You go out of your way to ostricize me further. And you want me to just be like, oh, bygones be bygones. No.
I didn't do that.
Not at all. Not even. No. What he did was absolutely unacceptable, and there is no way I'm just going to sit here and be like, yes, we're friends now. No, he comes on here playing the victim even further. This is ridiculous.
No one's saying let bygones be bygones. We're just trying to put an end.
That's what he's trying to do. I know what he's trying to do. I'm not playing his game.
I think I see the problem. I think I see the problem. Do either of you practice semen retention?
Oh, I know. I fuck my wife 4 or 5 times a day.
He makes sure people know about it too on his stories.
Yeah, I posted a lot. It's pretty fun. People really like to see it.
But
they like hearing my dick flap on my thighs. It's pretty funny.
Good Lord.
So again,
it's hilarious.
I mean, I gotta say, as a grown man, I find this kind of comical.
I'm gonna be ashamed or something. If I'm posting this on the internet, you think I'm like all of a sudden be like, oh no, everybody knows. I'm so embarrassed. No, I'm not.
So Jake, I asked a question earlier of everybody, and the question that I asked of everybody is: there a way for all this to stop, and is there a pathway back to all of us being able to coincide, work together, support each other, without bad talking anyone's promotion or any part of it? Whether it be individuals or whatever.
I like I said, I will not say a single word about Michael. He says that I'm the reason he was ostracized. He really does it to himself. So I don't need to say anything. He just needs to do all the talking. I will stay away from him. I won't even mention his name ever again. I'll do that just for you, Michael. Sound good?
He kept, so he starts out coming on here saying, guys, he said all these crazy
Hey,
things,
he
he's gonna
invited
hurt
me
us, and
on.
now he's like, I didn't do anything. He did it to himself.
It sounds to me like you wanted this
I
confrontation.
love it. I love it. It's beautiful. I don't give a fuck about this guy. If he just leave me alone, we could all move forward. There
Well,
was
he's
never
already
a
said he'll
problem.
leave you alone, Mike.
Well, why hasn't he though?
Well,
If
that's
that's the
what we're here
case,
talking
why-
about
so
now.
just-
Because
so just-
honestly, I'd really like to get Tim back on here because that's really where the focus needs to be. So that way we can clear up. Because again, my
It's just
intention,
hilarious that
West
this
in the
conversation
house.
even fucking
my
happened.
goal for this, and I spoke to Ryan about this earlier. My goal is to again broker peace. I mean, because it's ridiculous. This makes the sport look dumb. It makes us look uneducated and unable to solve a very simple problem. You know, I look at it this way: either you just stop, or you meet behind a barn somewhere and let the best man win, or like the commercial says, you handle it the old-fashioned way. You put your arms on a table somewhere and settle it that way. But either way, this part here is not going to help build the arm wrestling sport in Arizona. You know, to compete against each other is just stupid. And from what I can hear, and I'm not trying to devalidate anyone, but from what I can hear, this is all Facebook, internet bullshit that high schoolers do.
A lot of people are tired of how Jake operates here. His whole shit.
You know, brother, there was
about
a time.
everyone
There was a
making fun of
time in my
And
life in this sport. A lot of people were sick of me, and I had the same attitude. F you! I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to.
That's it.
And I ostracized myself, and
Mhm.
a lot of people didn't want me around. But at some point, I had to swallow my pride. I had to swallow my ego. I had to admit to my fault and my accountability and go and ask for forgiveness. At some point in time, all the bickering and all the bullshit needs to stop, and it needs to be settled. And however way it gets settled.
I quit arm wrestling for 8 months, and he still followed me afterwards.
I quit arm wrestling for 4 years.
I did my best to walk away, is what I'm trying to say. That's why it's hard for me to sit here and just be like, okay, yeah, everything's cool.
Michael, no one followed
fucking
you.
stop talking about it. That's the best part.
Yeah, no one followed
Steve, how you doing, buddy?
Stop talking about it.
I'm well, brother. How are you?
I'm trying to do big things.
That's good. Everyone should be trying to do
I gotta
big
check
things
on my
for
kids
sure.
real quick.
So I
Yes.
assume you joined to chime in.
Well, more so just to hope that everyone can have a chance to talk, you know, because that's what this is, right? If everyone's jumping on to try and have a conversation, it's not to have animosity anymore. It's to actually have a conversation and get
Yeah.
somewhere with it. Whether that direction leads to, okay, there's no animosity anymore, we can move on and we can, you know, compete with each other wherever we're going to be if there are no threats and this and that.
Yeah.
Or if it's, okay, we're not going to find common ground or a term, you know, that
And just
that
avoid
means-
each other, right?
Exactly, and just be done with it. I think that you could probably ask 99%, and I say 99%, maybe I should say 98% since you're on here right now. But
That's
you can ask 98% of people in Arizona, at least, that know me, and even people outside of Arizona.
Yeah.
I don't want animosity with anyone. I want to make that very clear right now. The first time that I heard my name being spoken on social media by Michael, it was a video that was sent to me. And it was after 2 years of us not speaking.
What up, Billy?
So for there to be 2 years of just no air whatsoever, regardless of how we ended things, for him to jump on social media and make claims as if I'm putting as many steroids in my body to kill a horse, things like that take it to a different context. When you start talking about my character as a person, because I'm a realtor, so it's all an act, me being a nice guy, that's when it's not about arm wrestling anymore. That's when I finally sent Michael a message and said, hey, please just keep my name out of your mouth. If it's going to be negative, I have nothing to say about you. But
Yeah.
big boys also don't play childish games. I'm not going to try and fight you, bro. I'm a 38-year-old man. My daughter just turned 18 years old. My son is 13. I have a family to provide for, right?
Are you guys
So
keep talking about
knowing
fighting?
Damn, you're
No,
old.
but when I sent you that text, right? What did you do? You jumped back on social media, made another video, Steve West, Steve West, Steve West. I'll say your name whenever the fuck I want. You started talking more trash, which I just didn't understand. Because again, Michael, you and I haven't spoken in 2 years. I have no animosity towards you in any way, shape, or form. Because I'm associated with Armed Sports Entertainment, I can't even say that I'm with because I'm not an employee. Tim is not my daddy. Tim doesn't tell me what the fuck to do ever. Excuse my language, but just saying the things that are coming out of your mouth is almost like you're looking for this attention. And I just want to clear the air right now and
Yeah,
make it
I
very
was
clear to
looking for the
everybody. Let me
attention
just
so I
finish, and
could
I promise.
showcase
Let
how
me
you
just finish,
guys
and then
have
you can
treated
continue.
people.
Let me just finish, and then you can continue. I promise. Okay, let's be adults. Okay. All I'm saying is, please, if you have anything negative that you think about me, just keep it to yourself unless you want to talk to me directly, and hopefully we can work around that instead of jumping on social media and trying to hurt people's character with other individuals. You said that you have talked to me plenty of times. You know exactly who I am. You're trying to explain to everyone on social media who I am. They know who I am. They talk to me a lot more than you do. So this just doesn't make any sense. Let's stop the childish games. Okay, let's move on from it. You want to show up to an arm wrestling event, show up to an arm wrestling event ready to compete. And that's it. It doesn't have to be trash talk. It doesn't matter if you're liked by everyone there. I don't care if I'm liked by everyone at a tournament. I travel constantly around the country, and thank God I had the opportunity to travel internationally last year or this year also. So it's something that I want to continue doing at a very, very high level, of course. And I love the camaraderie in arm wrestling more than anything. Arm wrestling's fun. I'm competitive, but the people inside of arm wrestling is really the reason why I continue to do it as my sport, if you will. So I just don't understand, the animosity, the contentions, and the reason for jumping on social media and talking badly about someone that you haven't spoken to in 2 years, man. Can we just clear that up and be done?
This is really the weirdest counseling session I've ever
How,
had.
how is that weird? It's called a
really
conversation. This is what adults do. They conversate about problems that they have so they can
Should I lower
hopefully
my
reach an
voice
end
and
game.
talk extra soft too? Will that help me sound a little less aggressive?
Sure.
Why are we talking about this stuff, guys? Why do
Because
you
it's stuff that
guys care
actually
about me
happened, Michael.
so
You know,
much?
great
This is
psychology, you
weird.
told us.
We're supposed to be trying to get arm wrestling to occur, right?
But
You
you're
guys
the
got
one
rid
that
of me.
jumped on
I
social
walked
media and
away.
started talking
You
negatively
guys,
about
I
people.
only mention names when I was talked about.
I
I
don't
get
mention your name,
screenshots
Michael.
of you guys talking about me.
I
That's
even
why
told
I
you in
brought
the
your name
message,
up,
I don't
Steve.
even know you.
That's Oh.
I don't. I don't. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know you. Like, we don't know each other, really. We see each other on social media. I don't even follow your Instagram. That video had to get sent to me.
Okay. Yeah,
You know what
just
I mean?
like your comment had to get sent to me.
Yes, I had to send
Because
you a
I
comment
also don't follow you.
to
Why do
make
you guys
sure
talk? Why do you guys care about me so much?
you literally just got done saying that you talked about me first, and then I had to follow up with a
No, I
comment to
didn't. I
you.
said I
I wasn't
responded to
talking
a
about you.
screenshot,
You spoke
a
about
screenshot
me,
of your
and then I
comment.
jumped
I
on
have
here, and then I
only
jumped on here
responded.
trying to
Oh my
clear the
gosh.
air. I jumped on here trying to clear the air and be an adult with you, and you're just showing your true character to everyone else by saying this is the dumbest talk that we can have. How? It's about real events that happen,
This
Michael.
is really dumb.
Okay.
This
I hope
is.
you all can see it.
I'm
I'm
just saying. I
sorry.
think
I have
I
no
can have that
problems with
opinion. Why
anyone
is
here
it not okay
whatsoever.
for?
I want no animosity
See,
with anybody
it
whatsoever.
is. It
God
is.
bless you all, and I
I
hope that
am
things
not
work out
allowed,
forever.
unless I cowtail, I am not allowed to have any opinion with these guys.
That's
That
not
has
true. I
been the
asked you if
whole
we can
thing
just
the
stop.
entire time, is as long as if I put my hands down and say yes or no, sir, that's the only time they've been satisfied. It's always some new angle of whatever. You can look at my videos, they're all just me pulling in my backyard.
Did you
I
delete
don't
the
have
videos that you made of me? Because I can share those right here if you want.
videos or there's no screenshots or pictures of me commenting on other people's stuff,
Yeah,
because
there
I
are.
don't go to
I
other
have them.
people's stuff and
I
comment on
have
it.
them.
Where?
I have the videos that you made on Instagram last week, Mike. I can send
I
them to
make
this chat
videos.
right
Well,
now if
those
I
are
need
my
to.
that's my
So they can
content.
all
I can
see.
make videos. I
But
can
you
make
made videos
content.
about other people that don't talk about you at all,
Wait,
and that's what
so
I'm not
Mike-
Well,
understanding.
okay.
There's
I
nothing wrong
can
with
do.
people having.
Again, I said I responded to a comment from you. That's why I said don't talk about me, Steve. That would be so. If you want to play that video,
Before
the
that
video was
comment,
literally
you
me
made a video
saying, "Don't
prior
talk
to
about
that.
me, Steve."
You made
That was the
you made
video,
a
was it
video
not?
prior
Was
to
the
that,
video
Michael.
that you're saying, the video in
You
question,
made a
literally
video
said, "Don't
prior
talk
to that,
about me"?
Michael.
There was no video prior to that.
There was. I have it in my phone.
I save all of them. That's what I'm
have the
going
video
through and
in my
looking
phone.
at while you're
Ryan,
talking
I'll
is
be
I'm
happy to send
verifying.
it to you so you can see who you're working with. That's all. I hope that he grows up. I do. I really do.
Wow.
I don't want to have any animosity with anyone, bro. And for someone to still defend
We don't want to
themselves and
go
act
down
like
to
they didn't do
Phoenix.
something that
Nobody
they
wants to
actually
go
did,
down there.
it's
It's
just
okay,
childish,
guys.
dude.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, I had to boot him. I couldn't listen to that anymore.
Thank you, man. Again, I'm sorry. You know, it's embarrassing. It is for the sport, for the people that are around.
Jesus.
It's just,
well, when people come on trying to have an adult conversation and someone's just talking over you and sticking to the same topic over and over, like how do you fix the problem? You're basically saying there's no fixing it. So what's the point of keeping the conversation going if it's going nowhere?
you know, Jake said something earlier, and he said that Michael alienated himself from a lot of people. You know, and it's unfortunate because I don't have any animosity towards that guy except for the negative anecdotes that he put on social media about me without even knowing me at all. You know, that's my only issue. And I addressed it. And then he made a secondary video saying my name over and over and saying how he'll say whatever he wants and then making claims about me taking steroids, which I then followed up with, I will take a steroid test in front of you whenever you want, at a tournament, outside of a tournament. I don't care. Even though I don't owe that to anyone, I will happily do it. Just keep my name out of your mouth if you're going to be negative on social media. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, dude, when I went to Arizona and all of you guys bullied me, I didn't take to social media.
Right?
I'm kidding. You guys treated me very well when I went to Arizona.
Thank you, man. December 9th was fun that year. It was.
Absolutely. That was a good event.
Thanks, man. Yeah, again, you guys are trying to clear the air and make sure there's no animosity and just help the sport. I like that. You know, that's what the end game should be. Yeah. So hopefully the majority, if not all, the people can get on the same train and fix it.
Well, that's why, you know, like I know there's stuff going on in Arizona. So, you know, we're not trying to like throw any events on anyone's dates or anything like that. But, you know, Ray's from out there. He wanted to throw an event out there because he had a very close friend that has an awesome venue. So he asked if we would team up to throw this event. We said, sure. And then, you know, we start hearing that, you know, rumors of people saying that like we're not welcomed in Arizona. So that's why we were like, well, let's find out if we are or whether we're not.
Sure, absolutely.
So, I get it. There's a lot of new promoters.
Right.
And we have that problem here too. Like, you know, backyard barbecue, arm wrestling that, you know, people go to instead of a real tournament. But to me, it's going to get worse before it gets better because the sport's growing. So there's more promoters, this and that. But those guys, the smaller promotions that don't focus on quality are just going to get phased out eventually when they realize there's really no money in this and it's a lot of work and to get shit on by half the community every time anyway. You know, it's like reffing. It's like reffing. 50% of the people that you ref hate you after the matches. So that's being true. A promoter, it's the same thing. Like you have people that like you have people that don't. But I feel like if all of us worked together more and got along, all of our events would grow because then, you know, someone from my event might go to your event that didn't go before because they thought we didn't like each other or something like that. You know, and we've seen that here in the Northeast where, you know, we had a feud with someone and, you know, every time me and him would go back and forth, we could see like a division being created. And now we just stopped going back and forth and everything's getting back to normal.
That's good. I think everything comes down to communication.
Yeah.
And you got, I think, is that, yeah. Hey, what's up, Tim? You got the guy on the mic now. I mean, Arm Sports Entertainment's his baby. You know, we're really good friends. We work together. We travel together. When I say work together, I mean, we arm wrestle together. But between you two, you know, you guys are the promoters. Have a conversation. Hopefully everything works out. I want commonality. I want respect. I want everyone to just be smiling at tournaments all the time. I know that seems like a fairy tale, but you know, I don't have time for any problems in my life, man. That's all.
Yeah. I hear you, buddy. What's up, Timmy?
Yeah. Where's Michael?
I booted him.
You booted him?
Yeah. I had enough of that conversation.
Oh, Okay. I
You
just heard
can't have a resolution if one party isn't willing to resolve the issues.
Exactly.
And
Really quick before you start,
apparently
Tim.
I know who this guy is. I felt really bad. I don't know who he is when he blasted my name. I said, to be frank, I'm sorry, I don't remember you. I meet a lot of people in the community. Don't know why my name ever got brought up. Armed Sports Entertainment is mine, nobody else's. So if there was a ban by anybody, it would come from me, my mouth. So that's where I was really confused.
Yeah, I
Tim,
don't know.
take a beat for a second, guys. I just want to say goodbye. Thank you so much for having me on. God bless you
Steve.
guys. Have a great day. Okay.
have a good one, Steve.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yep.
So I guess that's where I was
Well,
confused.
he didn't blame you for a ban, but he was saying he was banned from tournaments.
He kept
I don't
on
know if it's
saying
yours.
that my people banned him, or it was hard to understand. I said something about I told people to ban him or some. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing I've ever encountered.
Yeah, I don't know where he was going with all that. That's why once I realized that this was going nowhere, I was like, let's just end this.
I asked him multiple. Well, he wanted me to tell people to stop saying that he was banned. I'm like, I don't own people. I'm sorry, I don't. People are going to say what they want, but unless you, I think I wrote it about 50 times in a message. Unless you hear something from my mouth, don't assume that I said something. If I wanted to ban someone, I've never had to ban anybody from my promotion. Luckily, you would hear it from me, not somebody else. I don't think he understood that, but
well, he showed me some screenshots and someone told him not to come to the tournament, and it wasn't because of anything. I mean, they thought that he said something like some kind of threat.
Well, that's kind of what I was told. Is
I would also tell someone not to come if I thought they were threatening someone and someone at my tournament was in danger of some sort of physical altercation. I would be like, please don't come.
Heard was a group of people told him, "Yo, don't show up to this event because of something he posted about coming to blast," or I don't even know what the post said.
Yeah,
something along the lines of to other people to sound like he was going to shoot up the place. I don't know.
That's what the person said in the messages, and I was like, well, how can I comment on what you're saying if I don't have the whole conversation? Like, this is just a snip. And I was kind of like, if they're banning you because you said you were going to shoot the place up, I mean, I don't like to use the word ban, but I would be like, you're not welcomed.
Right.
Yeah. Again, if this would have been brought to, if he would have just straight up, I guess, what was this, 2 years ago? I was told. If this was the case, why wouldn't you? My number's everywhere on the flyer. You can't miss.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you just say, hey, these people told me not to come because I said this and they're misconstruing it? Am I allowed at your event? I mean, it sounds like it'd be as simple as that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell from the snippet. It was just like his side, basically, showing that someone asked him not to come.
Right.
So I was like,
I have the screenshot of what he said. He didn't directly say that he was going to shoot up the place. It just sounded weird to a lot of people, saying that he was going to take out everyone with him in a blaze of glory. And that actually worried a lot of people. I had people messaging me, telling me to apologize to him because they're
worried.
Yeah, like genuine worry. Like
school shooter vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so maybe what happened was a lot of people didn't like that. So he had the impression that he wasn't welcomed down in Arizona, whether it was from Tim or anybody else. He wasn't welcomed at practices, and maybe he just assumed that he was banned from the tournament.
That's what it kind of was. Is like he said that your people said that I was banned. I'm like, I don't know what your people means. Like, it didn't come from me, and I tried squashing at that, but then he kept bringing my name up more and more and more. Like I think someone said earlier, if you write him a text, if you text him back that you're talking to him, he wants to screenshot it and say something that, or just say that Tim wrote me and said this. I'm like, I don't know how many times I can tell you, I don't control people. People can do whatever they want. It's their own business. I just respectfully asked if you keep my name out of your mouth because I personally did nothing to you. I never said one word to you. And I said, and frankly, if I did, I think we would have proof of that. And I think I heard correctly before I had to get off when I was just on, 20 minutes ago. He said that he has proof of me texting him that I would tell my people to stop talking or something. That never happened. I mean, show me. I don't recall me saying that I would tell someone to stop when, again, I have no control over who does what. I'm sorry, I don't.
We kind of
I don't
wanted to
care.
have him on because he kind of alluded to some of this drama. And I was like, well, let's have him on and see what he says. And maybe people will come on and we can get whatever beef's going on squashed. But I can clearly see that that's not going to happen.
Well,
So-
I mean, I again, don't. I'm just guessing, I guess I'll say. I don't think he wants to squash anything that allegedly happened. I don't think he wants to talk face to face to anybody, or like we're talking right now. I don't think he wants that. And I think if he does that, he just gets into his, do you want me to talk to you like this mode? Because he doesn't have an answer for the truth that actually happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I could see where it was going, and I'm like, well, let's just end this and not go down that road because it's not clearly not going to be squashed on this podcast.
So, I mean, is this why I got tagged? I don't know why I got text to come on. Is this why he told me to come on?
Well, no, the initial reason why you got tagged, Tim, is myself, Ryan, and Michael. But Michael's not here, so I'm just going to speak for myself, and Ryan can speak for himself. We got word that over the weekend you were bad-mouthing the upcoming event on November 1st and telling people not to come and telling people not to support it. So that's what we initially were discussing. And people were saying that Tim should be here. And I agree, because at the end of the day, I said it at the beginning of the podcast, I'll say it now. I don't give two shits what beef you have with another man. It's not my problem. But I'm getting into this. I'm investing money. My partner is investing money, and time and effort's being invested. I'm not going to badmouth your event. I'll support your event. I'll promote your event. And I don't want my event badmouthed and talked down.
So do we know who this came
I know who messaged me, and I'm going to be straight up with you. They asked me not to say anything because they don't want to be. No,
I don't care who said it. I want to know who the message went to. So
I personally got 5 messages.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Again, I don't care who runs tournaments. It's not up to me. I'm not a dictator. I don't own rights to anything. I don't give two shits. What I have said since day one was, and maybe you didn't know that I ran tournaments here. I know other people that are helping you do. I'm going to use an example here. If I was like, got this opportunity to run something in Sacramento, the first person I would call would be Bill and say, yo, you got any tournaments around this day? I got this huge opportunity. It was kind of just like a unwritten rule back in the day, I guess, that I still live by. And so that was kind of my whole thing. Again, more tournaments the merrier. I give two shits. We need more tournaments. It just gets more people involved. Said that on every show I've been on.
So here I go on my end. So honestly, until I was told that you were more or less Arizona arm wrestling, I thought you were still in Washington. That's how long it's been since I've spoken to you. I contacted Arizona Arm Wrestling League. That's who I contacted. That's who I said about the event. Was my plan to do an Arizona event? No. That just happens to be where the business owner and my partner has his hub of businesses out of. Now, he wants to have the event at his venue. Great. Let's do it. Me and Ryan spoke. He thought it was a great idea. I got presented with a franchise opportunity. Me and my partners are taking it. And then all of a sudden, drama that I didn't want to be a part of just came dumped on my head.
Well, before you go for Raymond, let me just chime in so I don't forget what I'm going to say from what you've
Yeah.
already said. If I'm correct, Ryan, are you involved in this tournament?
Just as well, originally we were going to do it like I was going to come over and do it together, but now the franchise thing kind of changes things. Like they're doing it as their franchise.
So what I get at
I'm still going to come help, but
right. So what I was kind of getting at was, that I put on tournaments here.
Why is it his problem?
What's that?
I'm going to take off, you guys.
Hey, bud.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on and attempting.
Appreciate you.
I heard someone say something. I don't know where it came from.
Who was that? Was that Billy?
That was Billy.
Oh. Billy Ortegas.
What's up?
Billy Ortegas is on with us.
Sorry, I'm driving.
I thought he said something. No, stop talking.
I'm kind of road raging over here. Stupid drivers.
So anyways, what I was getting at was I was trying to figure out who you were working with to know. Okay, obviously Aaron Barden, he doesn't work with anybody around here. He does his own. He started doing his own thing. We have our own beef from things that happen, and I don't want to get into it. It's not even a point to get into it.
Hey, so everyone in Arizona, it sounds like there's a lot of beef in Arizona.
There's really
not.
There's really not, which is great. It's just I'm not even going to get into what they do. It's pointless to talk about. So anyways, last year we started the Arizona Hall of Fame, and we run a super match card for only Arizona pullers to kind of reestablish rankings and all that. Mm-hmm. And then when we said it last year, we said, yep, it's going to be an annual thing on this date. So I guess what I was getting at is I didn't know, from what I heard, the players that were involved in this knew that I ran that on that day. And so I was like, why are we going to have a tournament the weekend before we're doing the Arizona rankings tournament? That was my whole thing. And it was from the people that I heard that were involved who try to sabotage everything that I do. That's pretty much what it was about.
Gotcha.
Again, and you can ask anybody that knows me. More tournaments the merrier. I don't give a shit. Come run one in Phoenix. Doesn't bother me. It's like where you live at, Ryan?
Outside of Philly.
If I went up to Philly, I would probably hit you up and see what dates you had going on around a day that I potentially had something going on, because you run shit out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I thought, talking to the Arizona Armwrestling League, that we thought like, hey, if there's any dates, they would know them, I guess. And I think Ray probably thought the same thing.
And he would be the first one who would try to sabotage.
I thought you only ran Arizona State, so I'm like, all right, we're not on that date.
Right.
And keep in mind, Mark, that's the guy putting up the money. He's the guy that owns the event. He picked the date that would best work for him and his establishment. And maybe I'm wrong, but the guy who's putting up the cash has more say than the guy trying to put on the event. Could I have done more due diligence and checking? Yeah, I could have. I could have asked more questions. Again, just like Ryan, I thought, and I didn't even know it was you that put it on. I thought the only thing happening in Arizona was Arizona State's. And I didn't even know it was you until I decided to promote and put on this event.
I mean, that's hearsay. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, we do like 4 here a year, but it doesn't, again, that doesn't really matter how many somebody does here. It was what I was told from the players that were involved. I'll say Arizona Armwrestling League. They purposely go out and try to sabotage everything we do. And they'll even put a tournament on the same day as us. So to me, them probably knowing what the day that we're doing, because it's an annual thing now, it felt like that. But again, it is what it is. I know after talking to you, I know what's going on now, so I didn't even care about it.
Yeah, and I honestly thought you only did Arizona State, so I was like, oh, we're not on their date, we're good.
Yeah.
Or we're far enough away from it where it won't impact.
Well, yeah, of course, it's so far away. It is what it is. It would only hinder, like, say it was on the same date, which it's not. Ours is the week after. I didn't want to hinder your guys' event for booking people with super matches, and then people don't come to yours. That's counterproductive for more people to be involved, right? So now I'm probably going to try to change ours to a later date so it accommodates everybody.
Well, I mean,
if I
wasn't our
last year,
intention for picking that date for sure.
Yeah, I mean, last year we had like 40 super matches, 39 super matches. So, I mean, obviously, I don't want to run that a weekend, after your guys's, because that'd be shitty.
Yeah.
Now, just for my edification, isn't your super match thing by invite only?
Yeah, it's like Team Tucson, Team Prescott, all of Phoenix, everybody. We just book a bunch of super matches to redetermine rivalries and stuff like that, and then we give out a Hall of Fame award.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're getting at, I mean, people would be able to pick and choose what they want to do. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So my question then is, how can we work together to benefit both events to where it gets maximize attendance, maximize exposure?
I mean, yeah, you have a hard date, so I talked to the committee that I have, and we're gonna push ours at least to 3 weeks difference, so people have options, so people can do both. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I hope in the future, Tim, I will, send me your schedule, because I know and I'm just talking about me and Mark. I know Aaron has an event August 2nd. He mentioned a couple of other events that he puts on.
Yeah,
I know that Mark and I.
He has
What's
one
that?
August 2nd. He has one August 2nd because he knows we have one August 9th. That's what Aaron does.
Okay. I don't know that. I'm just going by the schedule he gave me.
Yeah.
Shoot me a schedule. I can tell you that there's going to be 2 events held in Golden Valley. And I don't want to step on anyone. I don't want to compete with anyone. I want it to be, a mutual thing. Shoot me your schedule of events. I'll make sure that what I have control over doesn't, conflict with yours.
And if yours is hard dates and mine are movable, we'll work it out. Like I said, Raymond, I worked with you 10 plus years ago. You're a straight up dude. I've told you that since day one. So,
and I appreciate that. Thank you, Tim. And again, I mean, I'm sure if I talk to Mark, because Mark's all about making money, he would invite more events at his facility. That's what he wants. He bought this big facility and he wants to use it for what it's intended for. So whether that's you putting on an event there sometime next year, let's work together. Let's benefit each other. And again, I'm not involved in whatever drama is going on in Arizona. I'm here to promote the sport. I'm here to let's just keep it real. It's not all about money, but it's got to be about money if you want a good event. I like Aaron. I judge people by how they treat me. I know that, I've gotten text message or Facebook messages warning me. Again, until they show me something, I'm going to stick with my choices as far as business partners go. Before Aaron even knew me, before Aaron heard of the event, and my wife posted it, kind of like what you were telling me. And I'll apologize to you right now. My wife presented your message to her as if you messaged her after we spoke.
Oh, no.
But Aaron had commented on a post that my wife made, and she connected him with me. And before the opportunity of coming and being a part of 98% with me even came about, he was already helping me. He's the reason. I don't know if he's the reason, but he's the one who spoke to Billy and why Billy's coming out to be our head ref.
And I don't even like Billy.
That's what you keep saying. Why don't you like Billy? What should I know?
I'm kidding.
I know. You know,
We
so
secretly
I
hate each other.
appreciated that. And that was before he was even given the opportunity to come into the franchise with me. But I'm open to working with everybody. You know, I'm going to sit down with Bill. I'm going to get his schedule because we're going to put one of the other businesses that Mark owns. He owns a carnival show that he goes up and down the California seaboard with. So I got to get with Bill. I got to get his schedule to make sure the 2 shows that we're going to put on in California don't step on anything he's doing. I got to find out I got to do my homework. I got to find out, other than Bob Brown or Baxter, who runs stuff in Utah, because we got to put an event on in Utah, and we got to put at least one event on in Nevada. So I got a lot of homework to do, but right now my main focus is this November 1st, trying to make it as big as it possibly can. So Mark wants to put more money into the sport.
Yes.
Yeah, and for my part, you know, like I don't know some of these guys like Michael and whatnot. So after seeing how he interacted with people on the podcast, I was like, dude, we can't have this guy fucking representing this event. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not.
you got a small taste of the stuff I've heard.
Right. And that's how I felt. I'm like, dude, if he's like this now, this is not a good representation of what we're trying to do. So, you know, me and Ray were texting, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to boot him. Like, let's just get him off the show.
I mean, I like Mike, and I'm going to say that publicly. I'm going to say I like his energy, but at some point in time, you got to put your personal hat down and put your business hat on.
Yeah.
You know,
he was willing to do that. So,
right, exactly. You know, I like I said, my first priority is this event, and I will work with anybody who will help build it. I will work with anybody that can personally, like I said, man, and like Tim said, you know, he did business with me 10 years ago. Hey, I pissed a lot of people off in this sport. I was a fall down, arrogant drunk who didn't give a shit because I had money and I didn't care. Well, now I am a sober, broke, toothless redneck and trying to make amends for all the bullshit that I created. And it didn't just affect my previous company. It affected my wife. You know, nobody wanted my wife around because I was going to be with her, you know, and I just don't need the drama. Like I told Tim when we talked on the phone, I'm not here for the drama. You know, I just want to put on a classy event, a successful event. And I just want people to have fun and talk about it when it's over. I want everybody to win. You know, and I said it earlier, Tim, you know, before you came on, I know my event is after yours. However, if you want to come to the event or you want to mail me flyers for upcoming events that you have, brother, I'll pass them out. I'll let everybody know about it. You know, because again, you know, if we don't work together, we all fail. And I truly believe that's why arm wrestling has taken so long to even get to where it's at now. You know, yeah. I used to make a joke when you can go to a expo and the world championship for jump roping has a higher payout than arm wrestling. That's a problem.
I just wanted to throw those up in case you wanted to respond to that.
I didn't see it. What did it say?
Said, well, that's interesting because you asked me to be your head ref, Ray. And then it said, until I told you I wouldn't work with Aaron and Mike.
Yes. So John was referred to me as a referee. I don't know who the referees in Arizona were. you know, especially I didn't know who the certified ones were. John was suggested to me. Yes, I messaged John. It took a few days for him to get back to me. When he emailed me back, he told me, he goes, he couldn't be a part of the event because of Aaron and Mike. Of course, I went to Aaron and Mike and I asked them about it. I screenshotted the message and sent it to them. I said, what's going on with this? They had their response. Of course, like I said in the earlier in the podcast, that's why I called him a piston. Mike immediately put up a post about it. I asked him to take it down because we don't need to be fighting on social media about stuff. At no time was I disrespectful to John. I said thank you and I wished him luck. So I mean, yeah, John, I asked you to be a ref because I was told you were a good ref. Why wouldn't I contact you? And then his response to me was, again, he couldn't have anything to do with what I was doing if I was working with Aaron and Mike. Okay, cool. I respect that. Thank you.
I met John at my match with Paul Italia, and every time I elbow fouled, he fouled me.
You know, I don't really understand the comment. I mean, but yeah, you're right, John. I asked you to be my head ref. Absolutely. I also asked Scott Wynn. I also asked Crispin Woods. And I didn't get a head ref until Aaron told me he spoke to Billy and Billy agreed to come out.
I wish he would have ran that by me first.
You know, one thing about me that people will learn is I am a straight up guy. You call me out on something, I'm not going to run from it. You know, I screwed up, you know, initially I put out payouts. Ryan then hit me up and said, hey, he goes, hey, bud, we did our math wrong. And I looked at it, and truth be told, when Mark asked me what was a reasonable payout, I told him. So when he did his math, he forgot to add in the payouts for the left arm. Then when I told him that we screwed up, he says, well, I'm firm on the money that I'm putting up. Okay, so now the payouts changed. I take ownership of that. My mistake. I should have verified he understood what I was saying. You know, growing pains, call it whatever you want. But I'm not one to shy away from mistakes. I'm not one to make excuses. If I fuck up, I own it.
Well, that really the whole point of this podcast was, you know, I heard a lot of things about the drama going on with some of these guys. So I was like, well, let's get to the bottom of it. And maybe if we have them on the show, other people will come on and we can figure out what's going on. But once I saw the interactions, I was like, okay, I can see part of the problem right here.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it took having him on to know that, because I wouldn't have known how he interacts with people otherwise. So having him on kind of opened my eyes a little and like, oh, we can't do
well, that. I can just say, I'll speak for myself and nobody else. You saw one half of the problem.
Yeah.
And hopefully you figure out that other half sooner than later.
Well, you know, that's why I just booted him. We're not going to fucking, I don't even want to find out the other half. I saw enough from the first half.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know the guy. So it's, you know, I'm sure maybe there's some people out there that like him, but just the interactions on here is not the direction that we're trying to do what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I again, I'm about to get off here or whatever, but I was just coming on out of respect that I heard my name, and I'll always come on to defend myself and say it how it is and what I believe. In my personal opinion, I think you're making a mistake rolling with who you're rolling with in Arizona Armwrestling League, but that's just my opinion. Not saying by all means, work with me. Not at all. Just what he does around here and how he's trying to sabotage other events. And that's just my personal opinion. So out of respect for you, I'm going to tell you.
So let me respond to John real quick. No disrespect taken, John. like I said, I asked 3 different people to be my head ref. I told them what we were offering, which was $250 for the head ref, their hotel paid for, and their food and drinks paid for at the day of the event. Like I said, the first person I contacted was Scott Wynn. I got 0 response from him. Then I contacted Crispin Woods. He just responded to me the other day. He can't do it because he has a wedding to go to, but it wouldn't have mattered because by that time we'd already made an agreement with Billy. And after I asked Crispin, John, I asked you. And then you responded the way, saying that you couldn't be a part of it because of, the reasons you gave. But yeah, I didn't speak to Billy about being a head ref. That was all Aaron, So when I say Aaron got the head ref, he did.
I think he just misread and thought that you meant like Aaron was the one that reached out to him.
What was that, Ryan?
It's just a misunderstanding, I think.
Yeah.
John thought.
Well, I just wanted to clarify it.
I think it made it sound like Aaron was getting your staff after you had already asked John to referee or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it was just a misunderstanding.
If I may I ask who your other referees are?
I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't know yet. I believe, and Billy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it, Billy's bringing some other refs out with him, if I understood Aaron correctly. Otherwise, Aaron said he had refs locally that he can bring. But again, they have to be certified. So as of right now, the only ref that I can tell you we have is Mr. Ortega.
Oh, great.
Yeah, as far as bringing anybody out with me, I haven't spoken with Aaron on that particular. I know he mentioned to me that he's got some people.
Okay.
Short of that, that's the extent of my knowledge.
Right. And I'll put it out there right now. If anybody wants to be a ref on this, so the head ref gets $250. Each additional ref gets $150. All refs get their hotel rooms paid for. All refs will eat and drink non-alcoholic beverages the day of the event, covered by the venue. That's the best we can do right now. That's our budget. From other people that I've talked to, that seems to be the standard pay for local refs. Again, as of right now, the only ref that I can confirm is the man that's on this live with us.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's about all I had. I mean, unless someone else has something for me.
No, I mean, if you're moving that event and stuff and we can all get along and stuff like that, like we'll promote the heck out of anyone's event.
Yeah, I mean, mine just, like I said, super matches for Arizona Polos only for kind of an end of the year bash party, rankings, challenge matches, and then we do a Hall of Fame. So I don't want people to have to choose one or the other. Yeah,
in the future, now we know, like, let's find out from other sources what's going on, because I don't know what's going on that side of the country, really. We just know our area, but maybe that's something we can all work on together is like going on Arm Fighter or something, and if we all start putting our every event on there so everyone can see it, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be nice if people could work together and not try to sabotage the other person. So, not speaking about anybody here, I'm speaking about somebody else. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I wish that event success. I'm at home with my kids. It's Halloween, so I hope for success. So,
all right. Well, like I said, hopefully, good luck with your event also. And in the future, we'll try to have more open communication with everyone instead of just taking the word of, one or two people.
Will do.
And, like the old saying goes, communication is key.
Yeah.
What's that? What's Big Country's favorite what?
Spell to cast.
What's my favorite? I wish I had a spell to make my pecker bigger.
Thinks you look like a wizard.
Yeah, man. I gotta love my hat, bro.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm going bald.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on and clearing up,
Tim, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Take care.
See ya.
Have a good one.
So
that was interesting.
There's a lot of drama that I didn't know about in Arizona, which I shouldn't be surprised because there's some in every freaking area of the country, really. I just didn't know about all that drama. But honestly, having Michael on, I was like, dude, if everything he said was just like the wrong thing to say, I was like, dude, we can't have this guy on involved in this.
Well, again, I mean, I said it before. I'll say it again. I love his energy. I love how excited he was.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know Aaron or Mike, right? I've never met him. I do like everything that Aaron had to say. I like the fact how quick he jumped in to help. Talking with Mike on the phone, I loved his energy. I thought he was funny. But yeah, that was a little bit much for me. I don't know if it's something that it doesn't appear it can change, but I had hoped that as well as this segment of the podcast went, I was hoping that the whole thing could have gone that way. But time will tell, right? I mean, all we can see is if we can all work together and we all stick to our words and what we said.
Yeah, I agree there, Jake. Jake was trying to keep it, cordial, and I didn't feel the same vibe from Mike. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. But, the other thing that didn't get addressed, which we brought up, but, we do hear things like when someone's saying like not to support an event or this or that, we do hear things. And then I've never heard anybody just admit that that's true or not. So, you got to start wondering when you hear it from multiple people, whether it's true or not. And that's the part that sucks because we should all be supporting each other's events and trying to grow the sport and not just worry about our own events. You know what I mean?
And that's where it comes down to, right? It's kind of like, the people that messaged me, I've known them for a while. I trust them. I believe in what they say. I don't believe that they would have just messaged me to start shit. But at the same time, Tim came on. We discussed it. So you have to take a man at his word, and then if he shows otherwise, then you address it. I hope that everything works out. I hope that we can work together ultimately, because again, like somebody said in the comments, it's a win-win for everybody.
That's my personal opinion. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it sucks when you hear, that people are trying to tell people not to go to your event. I mean, it's cool that Tim's moving his event so that they don't affect each other. But, that's like you said, that's not a date that me or you picked. The venue was like, I want it on this date. So we just said, okay. I mean, the only thing I ever knew about really was Arizona State's. And I'm like, hey, as long as we're not there near that event, that won't affect him. But I didn't know he throws some other stuff in that area or whatnot. So,
and again, I honestly thought, because again, I guess they say ignorance isn't an excuse, but I honestly thought Arizona State was Aaron. Up until you told me otherwise, I thought, like I said, I thought Tim was still living in Washington.
Yeah, I knew he did Arizona State's, but I was like, well, our date's nowhere near that. So,
yeah,
we should be good. But I probably should have checked further to see if there was anything else. But I assumed that the other Arizona guys involved would have known.
But Tim brought up a good point. Like I have to do my homework and research about Vegas, and I got to do my homework about Utah.
Yeah.
Make sure that when we get ready to put events on there, we're not stepping on anyone's toes.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Bill at the end of the month and get his schedule for next year.
I want to do something big, like 4 or 5 tournaments next year in Texas.
Who do we call in Texas?
We'll be having another podcast. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know anybody from Texas. Anyway.
Look, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. It happens here. Look, I've got promoters here in Texas that don't call me, and they know we have regional events, and it just is what it is, And to Tim's credit, I understand what he's saying when he says, hey, we're all trying to look, TAL's got a goal. Our goal is Texas State, right? Our Texas State, from the day one that we started putting it on, we wanted $500 payouts, and it takes us, we don't have the luxury of big time sponsors and stuff like that yet. So it literally takes the most, we need the most turnout at every one of our events in order to foot that bill at the end of the year to continue to provide what we typically do. So, I understand Tim's thought that, hey, you got something going on, you got big things, this stuff like that, you expect big turnout. And then you have these other things, and the way the community is kind of in these days is that, they're real picky and choosy. You got a lot of guys picking small tournaments close and to their locality and stuff like that. And, it does affect, other tournaments. So, but it is, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm not saying this to say that anybody said it, but, it's right. Nobody owns anything. So you really can't prevent anybody from doing what they want to do, even if they want to come do it on the same day. And, it is what it is. You just got to do, at this point in the game with the way things are going, unfortunately, and I don't see it changing. Is promoters are just going to have to, we're just going to have to knuckle up, and we're just going to have to try to make our events the best they can be. And if, these other promoters come in and they want to throw on the same day or whatever, then it just is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. People are going to go where they want. And if you can't keep other promoters from throwing on your dates, then all you can do is make your event one that more people want to go to than theirs, I guess.
Yeah, and people are going to go to it, and if it's a good one, then cool. If it's a bad one, then they'll experience that, and, and they'll make their decisions moving forward from there. But I think that's inevitably, that's the way. It's almost to the point where we've got people around us that we've tried to work around, and, we've done our best to try to meet, monitor their dates and stuff. And, we don't get a call back. All of a sudden we schedule our thing thinking that we're cool. And all of a sudden it's, the week before. And it's like, I'm sorry, it is what it is. Like we're just going to have to do what we do and let the chips fall where they fall.
I mean, we have a hard enough time just keeping track of the events in our area, let alone across the country. I would not want to throw an event on top of something else anyway, if we can avoid it. But like I said, this one was kind of set in stone by the venue. Carolyn with a $2 super chat. Big country # Go Rogue League.
Somebody asked me if I was going to release my WB footage. What's WB stand for?
Winter Blast.
Oh, I don't. Did he say Ray or Ryan?
Where was that? Hold on.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Things evolve, and I think even speaking of Texas, I'm gearing up for the future down the road with more promotions coming in, more events and everything. Everybody wanting an event in their backyard, which I get. People don't like to travel anymore. I understand, but at the same token, I'm gearing up for possibly a couple of years down the road. We're not going to be providing the $500 payouts at Texas State because our tournaments will have reduced so much that we can't afford the bill at the end of the year. So, and that'll just be what the community. I mean, that'll just be what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all a learning experience, Now we know.
Yeah.
Next time we got more homework.
The first battle in the desert I put on, was actually the same weekend as one of Bill Collins's expos. And Bill couldn't change his dates. He couldn't, he was locked in. And unfortunately, I was locked into mine. And the classiest thing I've ever seen in arm wrestling, and this is, shows the integrity of Bill Collins, instead of bashing my event, he literally promoted my event. And as a result of him, I got almost 200 entries because of him, And I'm not saying that that's what everybody should do, but if so, like I believe Ryan said it earlier, there's so many events going on, you can't help but get stacked up on each other, and that's where working together comes in.
I'll be completely honest with you. I mean, it just depends on who it is and all that kind of stuff. And, call me an asshole, but I don't actively work against anybody. But, if it's something that is going to affect, I feel that it's going to affect what we're doing with TAL. I may not work against you, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, bolster it or anything like that. We all build our own platforms. I mean, TAL's built its own platform since day one. I want to promote my events and I want to promote the friends of my events and all that kind of stuff. And if somebody comes in and, puts a tournament on the same day or close to, there's nothing I can do about that. But I also don't have to blow that event up, Yeah. So it just is what it is. I mean, you do your event, I'll do my event, and the chips will fall where it falls,
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the thing. It's like, I get it. I understand that, promoters, with all this going around, promoters are stepping on each other and all that kind of stuff. And I understand the frustration and all. But at the end of the day, whether I agree with that, the one thing you'll never see is a screenshot or anybody like that, texting somebody going, hey, don't go to that event. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like there was a promotion and still is kind of, sort of here in Texas that I will 100% never support. And Ryan knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And I have many of my Texas pullers that participate in it. And I've never once treated them any differently. I've never once said, don't go. I've just said, look, that's something I don't support.
He's talking about Winter Blast, just to be clear.
Yes. Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but
yeah. No, but I mean, it happens, I have some feuds up here in the Northeast, and but I've never told anyone not to go to someone's tournament or anything like that. And I feel like the people that do that, it eventually catches up with them because nobody likes to be told what to do or not to do. And, nobody wants to be dragged into two guys' problem. Like, that's you guys' problem. Don't make it mine too. And a lot of guys do that. And I think eventually it becomes a trend and people are like, fuck that guy, basically.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And that's the thing too. So like, for instance, I know you guys talk about how you promote all events and everything like that. I think rightfully so, if you had a conflicting event, I think it would be more than appropriate for you not to promote that event if that's conflicting with yours, but not work against it, to make anything bad happen for it. Right. It's like, you don't want to, it's on the same day. I don't want to promote that event. I want to promote mine. Okay, cool. Yeah. But I'm not going to run around and tell anybody that not to go to that, come to mine or anything like that.
No. And we hear things, the people that are doing it.
Well, that's the thing too. So that's kind of another thing. It's like, okay, so we got two scenarios here. Either these things are actually happening.
Yeah.
Either the conversations are happening, the text messages are being sent, or those people literally hate you. Like let's just the fly on the wall here, or whatever, the elephant in the room. You know, the accusation that Raymond brought up was that Tim was talking about the event, and people told Raymond that he was talking about the event. So what's the real deal? Was Tim really talking about the event, which he says he wasn't? Okay, he came on to defend himself. Or do those people hate Tim and want to start drama?
Yeah.
Because there's no other, there's only two options in that, right?
Well, you know, I'm not going to say names, but some of the people that have come up to me to say some stuff are people that I know that are friends with him. Also,
yeah,
like neutral parties.
And I'm not saying that these things actually happen. I'm just looking at the situation logically in my mind. It's either someone's telling lies about you, or these things are kind of happening.
Yeah, right. It's one or the other. I mean, it's pretty. There's no gray area when it comes to that stuff. You either did it or you didn't.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying either or. I don't know. These people could just as easily be lying as, you know, it'd be the opposite side. So I really don't. As far as an opinion goes, I'm not going to state whether or not I have an opinion on it or not, because either one. I'm not saying either one could be plausible, but I just don't see any other options. I mean, why? There are people out there who just want to create drama and all that kind of stuff. Could that be a possibility? But then again, why? That would be like if someone liked me using me to create drama with somebody else. That doesn't make any sense.
No, and you know, I mean, it is what it is. I think we all kind of know what's going on. So,
well, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's like, you know, then you have to question, you know, the idea about, you know, like Raymond said, these people contacted him and they don't want to come forward. Well, why don't they want to? They thought it was important enough to come forward and tell Raymond, this thing, whether it was, true or not. But then they don't want to. It's not important enough to drive it home, in a sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So then you have to. Then that makes you question: Is it really true? Are these people telling me everything, that the full context of whatever? You know, because it's like you thought it was more and it was important to tell me, but then when Raymond goes, "Hey, I want to address this," and you go, "Whoa.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't hear that from me."
Yeah.
And with all honesty, that's exactly how it went. You know.
Yeah.
And they didn't want. And they gave me their reasons on why they didn't want to be mentioned, because they did. You know, their exact wording of one person, because I don't want to be kicked out from the event. I like doing the events.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, especially in today's climate of people being banned for no reason.
Yeah.
But like Billy just said, then you have to ask the question: did it really go down the way it was reported?
Yeah.
You know, and again, Tim came on. He defended himself. So you got to take a man at his word, and then if it turns out to be different than his word, then you address it. You address it then.
Yeah.
No, 100%. 100%. I mean, look, I hear stuff constantly. I mean, of course, that's one of the things that's one of my traits is I'm extremely observant. You know, but I hear stuff even about me constantly from different people, but I just don't. I don't feel the need to address it.
I'm the one who starts most of the rumors about you.
I know. They tell me this. They do the same thing. Well, you know, I don't want to like, don't put me in this. But no. But
here's a message from Tim. The only thing I said is I won't go to anything that Aaron has his name on. Didn't tell anyone not to support, because anyone can do what they want.
I say I feel that way about some other maybe individuals or entities and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong saying that. I've said that to people, like, look, you want to go? Like, I've even told my own people, right? I've told my own people, like, I'll just throw it out there. You know, this was kind of a big conversation. So Travis Bagent was going to come to Texas and he was throwing an event the same day in Houston as Sean Hancock's event up in Amarillo that I had already committed to. I had committed to Sean, like me, myself, the TAL were there to support it. Travis came in, basically, hey, one of my directors is a big fan of Travis, friends and stuff like that. I'm like, look, you want to go to his event? Go. But I've committed TAL to Sean's event, so if you want to go, like you're essentially supporting a deal that's conflicting with the organization, but I'm cool with you going if you want to go, so I mean, I've said the same things too. I'm like, look, I can't support it, but if you want to, hey, go have fun.
Yeah.
Now people might construe that, it's possible that people might construe that as, you, like Tim just said, maybe Tim saying, I said I wouldn't support it, so therefore they're flipping it and saying that they shouldn't support it either. But then again, and this is not against Tim, but like just speaking of myself personally, like even when I say that, I try to make sure that like my people that I'm saying, if I say that to anybody going, look, hey, are you going to that event? I'm sorry, I can't go. I can't support that. But you should totally go if you, it's really, hey, go touch hands, go do this. I want my people here in Texas to know that when you go to that, there's not going to be any animosity if you come back to a TAL event, like we're still cool. It's not a conversation we're going to have. So I think for the most part, I would hope, based on what I do, and how I try to conduct myself, that most of my Texas pullers know that even something that I won't support, they still basically have my support.
Yeah. That's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have, as much as I hear running around, I haven't heard anything like along those lines where, like this type of stuff, like so-and-so's Billy's telling people not to go to the event or anything like that. So hopefully that means that the way I'm portraying what I mean and my stance and everything like that is coming across as, just not being, it's twisted in a sense, but.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's unfortunate, but I think stuff like this will continue to go on for a while, at least anyway, until, I think as the sport blows up, I think a lot of the smaller promotions that are like pop-up promotions will just get weeded out eventually. And then they'll just be like, a handful or two of the bigger promotions.
Well,
but it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think there'll be a lot more small pop-up ones as more people get into it. But I think when they realize there's no money in it and it's a lot of work, I've seen a lot of guys just quit.
Well, let's just be real about it, right? All right. So I'm going to get a little bit boring, I guess, for the next 10 minutes before then I have to go into work. When you look at these organizations and these promotions, right? These quote unquote promotions.
Yeah.
How many of them are actually legally registered promotions in the sense that, they're the income that they make from the events, they're claiming their taxes, their expenses, all this kind of stuff. A lot of these are just exchange of monies, right? It's like the pullers are giving them money, and then at the end of the day, it's just like doing a yard sale or something like that, right? In a sense. So, for that part, if they don't want to make the step to become like a legally registered, I don't think these things are going to die. Some of them might come and go or whatever, but I think these small promotions that go event to event and stuff like that are going to remain around, while some of the other bigger promotions that, are legal LLCs or nonprofits and stuff like that have to do the legwork at the end of the year. They have to pay employees and contractors and all this stuff. I mean, there's a reason why. And I think, and a lot of times I get a little bit of heartburn in a sense because people just willy-nilly throw their promotion on there. And I'm sitting here going, I'm like, I don't even think the half of it. Like, the actual responsibility, if you want to become an actual promoter is huge,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
What's up, Jody?
Think, I don't necessarily know what the future holds, but it seems to be evolving where, now you got the internet and you got live feeds, and a lot of the youngsters are super into super matches now. And, it kind of changes a little bit. And I see a lot of the older guys getting frustrated with that because they're like, these little bastards haven't earned a fucking super match,
Well, it's like I don't know, it's like the pro to, and I think that's the difference in the organizations, right? And I don't think there's any wrong way to do it. The argument of should pros go first versus amateurs.
Yeah.
I really don't think there's a wrong way to do it, honestly. I think it's just a preference of the promotion and what that promotion wants to represent. So like we'll talk about who we're directly involved with right now with the AUA.
Yeah.
So like Sean is a big proponent of pros running first.
Yeah.
And that is, indicative of the type of promotion that Sean wants to run.
Correct.
Now you take what we can, like you and I have talked about, we take a little bit more grassroots approach, right? From the bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
The 98% obviously is, a prime example of the meaning of 98%. And you realize that amateurs are, it's not that the pros aren't important, but the amateurs are the bread and butter of everything.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to, cultivating a, something that allows newbies to come into and all this other kind of stuff and flourish and thrive and continue in the sport and stuff. So we need both sides. So like I said, there's no bad way to do it. I don't think either way is wrong. I just think that just depends on your motive of your promotion and what you're trying to go for. Yeah. And it is about business, so that, I'll be honest with you. I want our amateurs to, looking at it from the side, like, I from like the progression point, our amateurs will stay in amateurs if they're not able to dabble into the open at their own will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if by running pros first, no amateur wanting to test the waters and still do good in amateurs is going to run the pro class first and then try to pull his amateur class second.
No, they want to pull their own first. Yeah.
So allowing the amateurs to go first and then dabble in, and this is just the logic in my mind from my side. Like I said, there's a lot of different opinions, but allowing that amateur to do good in his class and then touch the open class or pro class here and there, to me, may try to help usher them into that class faster.
Yeah.
Well,
just think about the backlash you would get if you did the pro weight classes backwards and started with the super heavies first. Because then none of them would be able to do their class and then pull up a class. So they don't.
Well, and that's another issue that all promotions have, right? Is how do you run things to least affect the double classing, because you want guys to be able to pull. I mean, look, at the end of the day, average entry fees are $30 to $50.
Yeah.
Right. And whether you think 30 is enough or whether you think 50 is too much or whatever like that, I think as a business
event and it's 100.
Well, I know. Yeah. But in my mind, like I want, for whatever they're paying the, Texas Arm Wrestling League, I want them to, have the ability or have the options to pull as much as they can for that, in a sense. So,
of course.
If they want to enter 2 amateur classes and then pull an open class, well, then I want them to. I'd rather, I say, like favor that on the side of things rather than them just come in and go, well, I'll just pay my $40 and try to do the open class, and then, I get 0-2 out, and then I have nothing left, right?
Yeah, or they get discouraged and never come back.
Yeah. But like I said, you could do it either way, and I think
there's a place for both. Yeah, if you're a pro and you want to pull first and go home, there are tournaments out there that you can go to that do that.
Yeah.
if you're a newer guy and you want to come and you want to go in the correct order, then you go to a tournament that does that.
Yeah.
But there's a place for everyone, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know why promoters fight. Like, people are going to go where they want. Even if someone's throwing another tournament on top of my date 2 hours away, most people are going to choose whatever's close to them. They're going to go for the least amount of driving for the most part.
If they're, I mean, but then that depends on their mentality of the sport. Like if they just like arm wrestling as a hobby, and maybe but you'll see that some competitors will actually go, okay, hey, look, this one might be closer, but I know that's typically a small one.
Yeah.
This one over here is about another 2 hours drive, maybe, but I know it's going to be a bigger one, or I know the pullers in that locale are higher caliber.
Yeah. Right. And that's that's kind of what I'm trying to get to, is like they're going to go wherever they want anyway. So crying about, oh, someone threw a tournament 2 weeks away from mine is pointless. They'll either skip yours to train for that one, or they'll train for yours and go to yours and then not go to the other one.
Yeah.
Whatever they prefer. But squabbling over it just seems stupid.
Yeah.
But I think we'll always have that in the sport until there's money in the sport, which who knows if that'll ever happen. But
well, hopefully Brian Shaw will bring money to the sport.
Yeah, someone has to.
Well,
I don't know, man.
Let's talk about arm wrestling for a minute. What chance do you think Brian Shaw has against Brandon Allen?
I think he's got a pretty good chance.
You think he has enough knowledge? I mean, obviously he has strength, he has size.
Yeah.
But do you think he has enough knowledge to overcome Brandon's experience?
It's possible. It's possible with the people that he's been working with and stuff like that. I think it's possible that he just might be strong enough and have enough knowledge to, if you're just applying table IQ to table IQ, then probably no. But when you couple the strength with a little bit of table IQ, that can be better than more IQ and less, so it's possible.
I think that's mine and Ryan's problem. We don't have any IQs.
Everyone knows that about me.
Yeah. But we had this conversation a while back, when Brian first got started, and I think they missed a huge opportunity with Shaw, because look, at the end of the day, let's just be real. It's just no different than and they said it. So this is not like talking shit or anything like that. Like Tim doing the WrestleMania deal, the WWE, just like with them trying to capitalize on Brian, they're looking at the flip side, huge fan base of WWE, trying to get them interested in arm wrestling, and the strength side, and like Brian Shaw's following, trying to get them interested. So like you can go too quick with these things. What I think they should have done, but nobody asked me, obviously, was they should have brought Brian up like a normal arm wrestler, right? Now I realize the guy's not normal, right? He's an exceptional in his field and stuff like that. But if you're trying to like really capture, in my mind, his fan base, is I think his fans watching him come up to the sport, and it would probably be rapid, right? Much faster than most people. But send him out to a couple local events, let him kick some ass, right? Then send him out to a couple other prestigious events, right? Maybe Arizona State or, Michigan or something like that. Winter Blast, have him kick some ass there. And then, slowly progress, a couple high profile super matches. So then you have all this content, and you have his fans following his progression into the sport of arm wrestling.
Yeah.
But what they do is they automatically thrust him to the big stage right off the bat. Yep. The guy hasn't even arm wrestled competitively yet, and he's already got a match at the King of the Table. Now, granted, it's against Eddie Hall, but still, it's like, I think I don't know. I think there was a huge opportunity missed with that. And the only thing I can hope, and I'm not saying it's not going to work this way, is that nothing happens, that hopefully everything goes well and he doesn't get hurt or some reason like that. And, he backs out of the sport and then we don't retain any of that fan base from his side.
Yeah.
I made that mistake with Scott Mendelson. I mean, I went as far as making a deal with Travis Bajan to let Mendelson beat him, to make Mendelson look better than what he was, and then Mendelson goes on a vendetta stage, gets his ass handed to him, and then, no longer in the sport because no money. He was shown to be beatable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Billy. They should slowly bring Brian into this.
I was annoyed that they put him against Eddie Hall because I was like, man, I really want to see him pull an arm wrestler so we can see where they're at.
Yeah.
But I know
put up that comment
news
by was it Mr. Peanut or whatever?
Allowing Brian to smash through normal sized people would only instill bad habits in his game. No, do not let him just overpower undersized players. Bad idea.
Well, here's the thing. If Shaw was doing it on his own, that would might be the case. Considering that Shaw's not doing it on his own, and he does have people around him that are being very careful with him. I don't think that would have been bad in any way. I don't think him going to a tournament and even just blasting through a super heavyweight category here and there, to test the waters, to get into a competition setting and stuff like that, and all that I don't think that would have hindered it in any way. I think the people around him are going to teach him what they're going to teach him regardless. So
plus, I mean, he's in the super heavies. Those are our biggest guys.
I mean, you got people like Derek Smith, 6'10".
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how many people we have. I mean, the average super heavyweight 6'3".
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fellas,
and Brian's lost a lot of weight. I think he's down to like 350 right now.
Looking lean. He was lean in Arlington for sure.
Yeah.
But huge still.
Billy, are you on the clock right now?
Yeah, because about 20 minutes ago, you said you had 10 more minutes.
Well, I've got 2 minutes to get inside, so I'm going to let y'all go.
All right, bud. Thanks for coming on.
All right, brother. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate you.
Later. Hey, and look, there might be opinions out there about me being the head ref of it, and I realize that I wasn't the first pick, and and all that kind of stuff, and that doesn't bother me. I'll be sloppy force, but nobody else wants to take it, and you guys reached out, and I appreciate the opportunity.
We chose you last,
brother. I'll say this: it wasn't that you're a sloppy fourth. I didn't even know you were a referee, and again, that's why I thank Aaron, because he is valuable in a way that where I don't have knowledge. And the fact that you're coming all the way out from Texas, brother, to do this and help and create an event for us, that speaks volumes in your character and the kind of man you are. When hell, people I've known for 20 years won't even step up and help me. So, you're first, baby.
I didn't even think to invite Billy just because I view him as more as a promoter than like
right
for hire.
Yep.
But appreciate you coming out. And I think we're gonna have a good event and have fun.
Yep. All right, fellas.
I appreciate you, Billy. Thank you, brother.
Billy.
Later.
I don't like that guy.
You keep saying that.
No. Me and him just go back and forth in that AUA chat about how we don't like each other.
Man, I wonder what kind of things you say about your fellow New Hampshirean.
No, he knows I like him. But
yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, it took having Michael on here to see how he interacted with the conversation to realize like he's not gonna even attempt to mend this thing.
Right. And the thing is, like, we can go back and forth. Like we said, Tim came on, he represented himself. as much as I've heard about Aaron and Mike, you know, I've heard equally the same amount of about Tim, you know. But again, as I've always said, I treat people on how they treat me and what they show me. So you know, I like Mike. I love his energy, but at some point you gotta turn off the battery and think business wise. And you know, as you know, you and I have been texting back and forth doing this, so you already know what's going on there. And I think that's ultimately going to be the best thing.
I think the business sense on him is lost because as from that angle, he would have tried to mend it just for the greater good of what we're trying to do.
Right.
And he didn't even attempt. He was just like, I'll do and say whatever the fuck I want to say. Well, I have the same attitude, but I know when to have that attitude and when not to.
Right. You know, I mean, and I'm the same way. But again, we collectively, I'm trying to build my franchise. You're trying to build your brand. And I think you and I can make ourselves look bad enough on our own. We don't need help. But at the end of the day, there's no one says you have to like everybody, right? I'm sure there's still people in the sport that remember me from back in the day that don't want to trust me, that are running their mouths, and that's okay. I've earned that, right? I got to prove them wrong now.
You want to read this one?
What's it say? Cody and Ortega equal the new Midwest Mafia. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, it's unfortunate, but like, you know, I had to kind of boot him because it was just getting worse and worse and worse, and he was just making himself look bad.
Right.
And I was like, dude, wrong road.
He wasn't winning anybody over.
No.
And I'm sure he doesn't care, you know. That's one thing that I like about Mike is he is his own man. And he's going to do what he wants to do and fuck what anybody else thinks. And in a lot of ways, you have to respect that. But when it comes to a business sense and you're trying to start off, you have to have some diplomacy.
Yeah.
And, you know, like in the beginning of the podcast, you know, I said it, I'll say it again. If anybody has a problem with me, we've got 1 of 3 ways we can handle it. You know, we can do what we did tonight. And hopefully that squashed the issues. We can go behind the barn, or you can put your arm up on the table. And at the end of whatever, let's just be done with it. You know, I think the way we did it tonight was the better way. And again, you know, you can only take a man at his word. And if he proves it to be different, well, then we know what's what.
Yeah, and honestly, I removed Mike not to protect us from him, but the other way around, kind of. You know, I didn't want him, if he feels bullied by these guys, I didn't want it to get worse for him. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I get it. You know, and I've been talking with Mike. You know, he honestly, I mean, I have to say I respect the man. You know, he immediately started messaging me and talking with me, and you know, I'll say it here, you know, he's bowing out. You know, he decided his choice, not mine, not anybody else.
Yeah.
But he decided that he doesn't want to be a part of this, which I respect.
Yeah.
You know, I still told him I hope we can still stay in touch. I hope he still comes to the event, you know, that he's welcome. But you know, he realized that this wasn't going to be good for him, and he did what was best for him. I hold no animosity towards him. You know, I still think he's a great guy, but yeah, this just isn't for him.
Right. I agree. And, you know, like I said, me and you both have a lot of respect for a guy that's willing to stand up for himself and say whatever the fuck he wants and all this, because we're very similar. However, like you said, on the business side of things, you have to have a little couth on that and know when and when not to have a hard stance, you know?
Right. And, and again, I have experience with that, as most people know me, they know me through my former company, Country Crush.
Yeah.
That could have turned into something bigger than what it was. But again, I was arrogant. I was cocky. I refused to work with people because I felt that, they were dicks or whatever. And it ultimately casted a bad light on me. And, I had to bow out, because I wasn't listening to people smarter than me. It was a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
And hopefully that lesson is learned, on Mike later on in life, I wish him all the best in everything that he does.
Yeah. He might wake up tomorrow and be like, oh man, I fucked up, but or a year or two from now or whatever. But when it comes to business, we have to make the right decisions for what we're trying to do also.
Right.
I
mean, and again, everybody has to be able to work together. Everybody has to agree on everything. There's got to be a standard. Every company usually has a moral turpitude clause that you have to conduct yourself a certain way. You can't bring a bad light to the brand overall. Because ultimately it's your brand, right? Yeah, we're the franchise owners, but you're the brand, you're the guy, you're the brand. So if we're doing something that's overall bringing a bad light to 98%, you have all the power in the world to say, you know what, I'm shutting you guys down.
Well, that's why I booted him. And like I said, not for us. I booted him because for his own sake, because I could see where it was going. Like, he wasn't making any friends in the chat either. And I'm like, dude, this dude's going to get bullied even more. Once you get the 98% crew starting to make comments, I'm like, this guy's going to get trashed. Let's just end it.
Yeah.
Better for him.
No, you made the right move, bro. And I think he understood it too. Man, my dog is just a freaking freak. I don't get it, bro. I've got a 130-pound Dogo Argentino that is calm as can be. And then I got a fucking 10-pound Chihuahua that just wants to bite and hump everything.
At least you're getting
humped. And honestly, brother, I think Mike realized it too. And that's why he messaged me. And I respect that in him. I honor a man like that who, like you said, stands on his belief. And doesn't, I'll use his word, doesn't cower down to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as cowering. I look at it as taking the higher ground for the better, for the betterment and for the good of the brand. There's people in the sport that I'm not going to get along with, but if it betters the brand and it betters the franchise, well, then I have to work with them and I have to put personal shit aside.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm a perfect example of that lesson. Like, I was going head to head with a promoter up here, and he'd post something and I'd post something back and forth. And it took me a while to realize that does no good. And then I stopped, but he didn't. And now his brand has actually kind of declined because, like I said, when you're telling a lot of people not to go to this or not to do this or don't work with that guy, people start to see that cycle and like, whoa, dude, that's not cool. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that lesson though, to not go back at him. It took a while for me to learn that because, it's in my nature to troll back, and now I see, hey, how you beat people? By being successful and throwing good tournaments, and then they have nothing to say. And if they do say something, it doesn't matter because the people that went to your event will defend you and you don't have to say shit.
Exactly. And I said that to both Aaron and Mike, when we were talking on the phone, when all this first started and we were getting feedback that what was being said or not allegedly being said down in Mexicali, the way we win, the way we come out on top of this is we throw a better event.
Yeah.
We throw a successful event, I much rather preferred what we did tonight. I'm pleased with the way it went. I mean, yeah, when I first came on, I was gun ho. I was like, okay, let's go, you know. And then I saw a comment where somebody said, you know, Tim should be here. By all means, let's bring him in.
Yeah.
You know, but then it got to a point where, like I saw another comment from Terry Killifin, who I respect a great deal, from Carson, Nevada.
Yeah.
You know, he said this is ridiculous. It's not going anywhere, and he bounced out of the live. When people are when you know, this wasn't supposed to be like your Friday night show where everybody just comes on, talks shit, bashes everybody. That's what that podcast is about. This was to solve something, whether it be call everybody out to a match or do what we did and talk it out, and hopefully we resolved it.
Well, like
but
I
yeah,
said,
when you're fighting, no one wins.
Well, when I saw that comment, that's also part of the reason I was like, all right, it's time to end this, you know? And even the guy, Jake, that was arguing with him, messaged me and said, hey, you know, sorry about that. And I said, no, there's nothing to be sorry about. And he said, I like your podcast. I subscribed. So now, you know, we gained another subscription out of it.
And, you know, and that's awesome. I mean, again, I don't know Jake. You know, to me, he seemed like he was willing to end it.
Yeah.
You know, and let it go. But, you know.
Yeah. He took the high road, and I felt like Mike was not willing to yet, which is fine, because there was a time where I wasn't willing to drop something. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
So, you know, we all learn, we all grow. It takes some time sometimes, but we're getting there. And I think 98's growing. You know, you're our first franchise, and we got a few others in the works. So this is going to be awesome.
It is. I see big things coming. And again, as long as, you know, we've had some lessons already, some growing pains. I am already, you know, seeing a lot of areas where I should have been a little more diligent and not so quick to put it out there. You know, I should have taken my time to to find out all the players in Arizona. I'll hold that on my own shoulders. Because it does ultimately come down to a respect thing, you know, but if respect isn't reciprocated, well, then that goes out the window.
Yeah. But, you know, for instance, like with WSA, you know, that dude's planned events up here in my area, and I never got a call to see if it was okay or if we had dates. And he actually happened to throw one exactly on a date of ours. And he asked me if I could move our event. And I was like, dude, this has been planned for like a year. And I said, no, I can't move it. However, send me your flyer and we'll promote your event, because people will go where they want to go. So
right.
I did that.
And let's give credit where credit's due. You know, Tim did a stand-up thing, you know, by saying he's going to move his event 3 weeks out from ours.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's a class act. That's a stand-up thing. He didn't have to, you know, he could have said mine's staying where it's at.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I hope that in the future that, you know, we can work together. And like I said, I mean, I can almost guarantee that if Tim ever said, hey, man, you know, would your guy let me put it on an event at his venue? I can almost guarantee he would say yes.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't agree with is, you know, this is not the first time that someone has told me that, you know, Tim has made comments about someone's event and not going to it.
Right.
And I've seen some screenshots of some comments similar to that and stuff, but, you know, it is what it is. And hopefully, you know, maybe he'll learn from it and be like, hey, I don't have to do that. I can just beat them by having good events, or kind of like what we're trying to do. And there's room for all of us to grow. So maybe that was his moment to see, like, hey, maybe he'll look at this and go, oh, these guys aren't so bad, and they're willing to promote my event, and they had me on the podcast to talk. Like, but you know, when you start hearing it from a lot of people, and it's people you trust, it's kind of hard to ignore. You know?
Well, and that's my thing. I mean, I understand what Billy was saying, and Billy was 100% accurate in what he said. But at least the 5 people that contacted me, I've known them for a while. I can't see them just saying something to me to get me going.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, that's what attracted a lot of people to me back in the day is I would just spout off at the mouth and not give a shit. And people like to watch the show. So, but so I'm not saying that those people lied to me, but again, they're the ones that don't want to be mentioned. And Tim's the one who came on your podcast to deal with it. So
got to give them props for that, for sure.
Absolutely.
But hey, this is going to be a good event. This is the first franchise we're kicking off, and I think it'll be successful. And let's just keep on rolling.
Yes, sir. With that, I'm going to let you go, brother. I got to put my little brother to bed.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, and I'll write something up to deal with that situation.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy.
All right. Peace.
Later. See you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this podcast. Another zinger of a podcast. We did not expect it to get as crazy as it did. This one was not supposed to be like Friday night. And we thought we could get everybody on and sort this out, but sometimes that doesn't work out. So anyway, yeah, we got some big things. Ray's been a very stand-up guy and honest with everything. And, I'm sure he's got people in the sport that don't like him just like I do, but if you talk to any promotion, there's people out there that don't like a certain promotion. You can't get around it, but everyone's entitled to their opinions, go do what you want to do, pull where you want to pull, get those points for the Aries, rating system. And let's just keep doing what we love. And hopefully we'll continue to grow. I can't wait to announce the other franchisees and stuff because you guys are going to be like, oh my God, these guys are everywhere. So anyway, thanks. And I'm going to call it since I'm the only one on. And we'll see you guys Friday night on the 98% FTG Friday Night Live. Fuck that guy.